Round 2 of the Reigel Promotions Pavement Series takes drivers to a legend, the one and only Rockingham Speedway. The automobiles these drivers will do battle with, the current NASCAR trucks, for 200 grueling laps. The prize, up to $100 and bragging rights for a month until the next Pavement Series round at Kansas in May. Welcome to Pit Stop TV and the virtual Rockingham, North Carolina. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV with Carl Pooler alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of the Spring Rush at Rockingham. Tonight's coverage from Rockingham is brought to you by Reigel Promotions, by Buckeye Racing Network, and by all series partners. It's a pleasure to join you all this evening, at least virtually here from the virtual Rockingham Speedway. Carl, this is one of my favorite tracks to broadcast from. It's just got so much character. We all know and love it at this point. It's back on the NASCAR schedule this literal week. Rockingham is a fun place to race.
Excited to be here, Andrew. Thank you very much. I hope it is so much fun to watch here, because I know driving the track, I struggle. This is such a tough track, very physical, very bumpy, and it is going to cause a lot of chaos and calamity. This 1 mile speedway has been around for a minute, and it shows that character, so I'm excited to see what these drivers have in store for us tonight.
And we can take a look at the point standings coming into this evening. Here's a look at them. David Flanagan won at Daytona about a month ago, so he's on top over Lautaro Lamperti and Scott Fritz in your top three. And Carl, you know a lot about Scott Fritz. He's in this race along with his teammate Matt Selby. They're a bit of a crossover from the BRB Racing League that you take part in on Tuesday evenings and is coming back here in May. What can you tell us about the kind of talent that has to be in this field if Scott Fritz is only down in third?
It is definitely a tough field. Scott Fritz is a very, very competitive guy. He's very aggressive, but he's also very clean. He knows where to put the car where he can, and he has a little bit of a dirt background, same as Selby. So they know how to kind of use that slide to their advantage and carry that speed through the corner, and I think that kind of gives them an edge in that Tuesday night league. So I'm excited to see what they have in store for us in these trucks at this very bumpy racetrack.
And you guys have been here to Rockingham recently, so you know a little bit more about Rockingham maybe than you did prior. This is a tough place to race. A lot of fun, though, if you can just kind of let loose and let the race come to you. How did your race a couple of Tuesdays ago go for you anyways here this week?
You know, I did okay the first two stages, just kind of staying alive and keeping the car under me. And the third stage, I did not do the third part of that and wrecked out of two. Like I said, a very, very problematic corner. And it just kind of put a dent on my night, and it was a struggle. But I've raced here before, and it's a very, very tough racetrack to get a hold of and get under you. I think you're right. You're going to have to let the track and the race come to you rather than aggressively attack this track, because if you do that, you're going to hit a bump wrong and send yourself and maybe even one of your competitive drivers into the wall.
Well, qualifying is opening up, and before we get properly into qualifying here, let's take a look at some of the partners with this event, with this series. Admin Box, third place. Hang on, I had it down, and I'm second guessing myself. I'm gonna get this right because I want to. Third party gaming. That's what I was gonna say. I'm glad. All right, we're getting progress here. Admin Box, third party gaming. 618 Engraving and Design, Victory Fuel, Premier Racing Setups, Richard Murtaugh Racing Driver Academy, the Night Owl Racing League, and 14M Graphics and Logos, all a big part of this series. We'll talk more about these partners in depth as qualifying is getting going. We wanted to give them a bit of an acknowledgement here before the race gets going, before qualifying even gets going. Josh Cottle straight to the top of the board. You might have saw that at the top of the screen. Let's take a look here at how qualifying is going for Josh Cottle, who goes even faster. And it's going to be a 24.192 from Josh Cottle. A big-time lap time there. William Owens now on the racetrack in car 21. He brings it down to a stop. Sean Smith completes his run. Matthew Selby's just getting started.
And track position is so important and so key at a track like Rockingham. So we're on board with Selby's roof cam over there as he dives into one, going out of two, and we'll see if he can keep the truck under him out of two. And right there is a really, really bad bump, and if you get on the throttle wrong, it will send you sideways. But yeah, track position is going to be key here, because you don't know what can happen further on in the field. It can be fun to race here, but it's tough. it seems very wide. Even looking at it from this point of view, it seems wide, but once you're in a car and you're side by side, you feel like you have no room. You can race 3 wide here, but it's ill-advised. So you got to be careful, and track position kind of hedges your bets, as it were, to kind of stay out of that calamity.
Here's a look at Jacob Harberts. We know a lot about him, but up top now, Braxton DeWeese, fastest in qualifying. He will move up to the top of the board. Jacob Harberts from the Sim Auto Racing Association, or SARA Super Series, has always been quick here on Pit Stop TV when we've seen him race in the past. Let's see what he's got in qualifying here for this truck at Rockingham. It's going to be 10th quick so far, a 24.553. But lap 2 seems to be the lap of record for these guys. It seems to be when they go the fastest. We're riding on board here with Harberts, down into 3 and 4, right along that yellow line. He's going to shoot up out of the corner with a whole bunch of speed and should go faster here on lap number 2. Let's see what he's got. Oh, that was nearly a 23. The 24.269. That's good for third.
So third, again, inside row, or inside second row, as we are on board with Flanagan, the leader of our points, and he brushes the wall. Oh, there it is! Huge wreck, going into 1, coming out of 2, and just like that, it can totally change your perspective on the track, and he's going to have to definitely park it and come back as we ride with the 67 of Batiest and see what he can do with it.
Donnie's into extra laps now. Chubb Shockley also into extra laps. Blake Thronberg not able to get a lap down. He will start from the rear of the field. Bill Miller having some troubles here in qualifying as well. And our very own Zach Murtis is so far qualified 14th. Here he comes to the line. He's going to move up. It's a 24.544. That's going to be good for 10th quick now, bumping Dickinson and Flanagan down a couple of spots and moving Zach Murtis into the top 10 in the starting grid. We'll talk more about the starting grid, of course, after a warm-up coming up soon. A couple of cars left to go. Bill Miller, one of them. Jimbo Rooney, another. And I love that name. That's a race car driver name if I've ever heard one.
Such a lot of good names out here. Rooney one. I like Octavio Rondoletto. That's great. This is going to be fun to go through the list here, Andrew, tonight. And go through the list of drivers and see what we can do. But Rooney puts on a 24.8. He is currently on another lap, and you see if he can best this 24.8. You did note that the second lap was the faster lap. But we can only see as Rooney goes into 3 a little high. But this 3 and 4, I believe, can be multi-groove. You do kind of want to hug that line. Oh, and you want to stay off the wall so it counts your lap. But it looks like he does. Crosses the line with a 24.830. So that will set him there in 13th.
That'll complete qualifying with Braxton DeWeese, Josh Cottle, and Jacob Harberts on top. Matt Selby, Jonathan Adkins, rest of your top 5. We will kick over into warm-up session now and get ready for these guys to go racing properly. They have 5 minutes to they can't fine-tune the car. I was about to say they can fine-tune what they're doing, but really all they can do is run a few extra laps and get a little more accustomed to the racetrack, but that holds value. Just like running extra laps in qualifying, how much do you think that's going to help these guys?
Oh, I think it's gonna help a ton, Andrew. There's, it looks like right now there's a decent group already exiting, and even if you can get 3 or 4 guys out there, drivers out there, just to see what the truck is gonna do side by side, and a little bit of dirty air, that can help you a lot, especially early on in this run. So I think this 5-minute qualifying session is super important, can really help you early on in the race, especially.
Now, we have a couple of cool things going on with this event. While these guys run through their warm-up session, we'll talk about them a little bit. We have the Admin Box Drivers Meeting, the third-party gaming green flag coming up very shortly. We'll see drivers making pit stops down on the Dirt Series Promotions pit road. We've even got, this is the Night Owl Racing League warm-up session. We also will talk about the Premier Racing Setups Hard Luck Award, and we'll talk about some other partners, including RMR Driving Academy, Sick Trophies, 618 Engraving and Design, Thunder Valley Racing, Victory Fuel, and TJ Visuals. Since this is the Night Owl Racing League warm-up session, let's talk about the fact that you can get ready to roll with the Night Owl Racing League, our warm-up session sponsor for 2025. Bringing together passionate sim racers for thrilling competition, the Night Owl Racing League hosts unforgettable races. Join the Night Owl Racing League today by visiting them on Facebook or joining their Discord to be a part of the action. Again, it is Night Owl Racing League. You can find them on Facebook and join their series. Back into the session, 3 minutes left in this warm-up session. Some time on track for these guys to get up to speed and get used to this track. Here's Zach Burtis. Let's ride on board with him a little bit. Our very own broadcaster, podcaster, race car driver, you name it. He's even got an esports team now. This guy does a little bit of everything. He is sliding off a turn 2 here, Carl. You talked about it. A trouble corner. Turn 2, that's going to be what DW used to call Calamity Corner.
Oh yeah, it's such a fine line, because you can run that corner the same way 10 times, but you are an inch off that 11th time and it'll catch you off guard, and that's what's happened to me. But you see how high they're entering. Mertez now Shockley entering high, trying to exit low and then rocket off down the back straightaway. The back straightaway is straight, but the front kind of tri-oval is different. It's different shaped as we go through 3 and 4. See the bumps in that transition, and you see it is kind of D-shaped, but it's not exactly an even D-shape. So this tri-oval back into 1 is very, very tough as well, especially passing. You have less room than you think.
Yeah, you know, I'll admit I'm a little bit rusty getting back from vacation and a week off here, so I reloaded the wrong track map. I wish we could show you the track map this evening, but it has that kind of uneven, kind of bumpy, rounded D shape to the front stretch, and it gives this place just that much more character. You can see it kind of in example there with Chubb Shockley down the front stretch. Matthew Selby now quickest in this warm-up session. Let's bring up the time to the left side of the screen. He's got a 24:24. The Chubb Shockley is 24:30, and so on and so forth. Scott Fritz also looking quick here in warm-up, so it seems like when you get these guys on the race setup in race conditions, or at least close to race conditions, Selby and Fritz are a potent duo.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch them work around the field with it so bumpy, because they are used to a little more of the dirt action, used to, you know, rubbing fenders and being able to sling that rear end out there a little bit more, and I think that kind of fits their wheelhouse tonight. So it doesn't surprise me they're taking the top 3, but also with Fritz being 3rd in, I think it was practice, and he got a decent qualifying spot. So consistency is key here, and he's going to have that, so that's going to also work into his wheelhouse.
Burtis goes by Jonathan Adkins here, so you see Burtis dive down to the bottom of the racetrack. You talked about 3 and 4 being relatively multi-groove. Here you see in action with Jonathan Adkins straight to the top of the racetrack. Burtis stays down low on the front stretch going after that lap time, but Adkins runs high and now gets that arc down into 1 and 2. So opposites down here on the other end of the racetrack, and you see Burtis driving with the top side. The top side is going to be a lot of fun to watch tonight for that reason. It's going to be interesting to see how these guys manage this multi-groove racetrack, bumpy all over the place, 200 laps. I mean, it's going to be a rough one for these guys for sure. But let's talk about something else here before we go racing. The upcoming broadcast here on Pit Stop TV. We've got 2 road races and a dirt road race coming up in the next 3 broadcasts, and then something else in there that might make this 4 broadcasts. We'll talk about that in a bit. But for now, confirmed broadcasts on the channel coming up. The North American Racing League at Detroit, and then Monza, and then Regal Promotions been back with the Badger State Showdown. So Regal Promotions getting on Pit Stop TV twice in the same month. We love to see it. We're going to Crandon International Raceway for the Badger State Showdown on April the 30th. And in between there, in fact, this coming weekend, there's a race plan that is still kind of, the kinks are getting worked out right now. The Flood Relief 227 to benefit a sim racer who lost a lot in a flood in Kentucky recently. That is going to benefit Kyle Vincent Gilbert. He's been on a Pit Stop TV broadcast before with the Icon Cup Series. That's happening this Saturday, as long as enough drivers sign up. If you're interested, drop a message in YouTube. We'll try to get you in contact and get you into that event. There is a $20 donation buy-in, but you can be a part of this weekend's race and be on Pit Stop TV. That's worth noting. The grid is ready to go racing. Let's take a look at the Lucky Performance starting grid this evening. Braxton DeWeese, we covered it in qualifying, quickest on the racetrack in that qualifying session. He will grid up on pole. Josh Cottle will start from 2nd. Jacob Harberts from 3rd. We know those two from the Sarah Super Series, and we know Matt Selby from the BRB Racing League. He'll start from 4th spot. Starting 5th, it's Jonathan Adkins. William Owens grids up in the 6th spot. Starting 7th, it's Scott Fritz. We know him from BRB. Cameron Craighead will start from 8th. Starting 9th and 10th, Lautaro Lamperti and our very own Zach Burtis.
In their 11th spot, Ty Dickinson. In 12th, David Flanagan. Jimbo Rooney will take the 13th spot. Sean Smith outside in the 14th spot. Dylan McKee in the 15th, while Corey Denson's outside of him in 16th. Robert Puckett in 17th, kind of accompanied by Bill Miller Robert Puckett. Bill Miller is going to be in the 18th spot. Donnie Betiest in 19th. And rounding out the top 20 will be Octavio Rondoletto.
Few cars left to go. 6 in fact. Chubb Shockley back in 21st. Rocky Boyd in 22nd. Blake Thronberg in 23rd. Tyler Bentley in 24th. And Ben Wirt and Joseph Broom bring up the rear of each line there in 25th and 26th. This field will roll around, and then they'll not only double up or triple up, they'll quadruple up for the Victory Fuel 4-wide salute. As here we go. The front of the field will take the bottom and top and let drivers fill in the middle and give a salute to the virtual fans here and those of you watching here on Pit Stop TV. So we'll turn the music down a little bit and let these guys get ready for the Victory Fuel 4-wide salute. This is going to be really cool. We don't see this very often on Pit Stop TV, but it's a regular piece of any Reigel Promotions event, so much so that there's a sponsor for it. Again, Victory Fuel coming on board to sponsor this over the course of 2025. So we appreciate their efforts and what they do for Reigel Promotions esports events. Here we go. The whole field doubling up and tripling up and quadrupling up slowly but surely for that first pace lap across the start-finish line. And there you see the Victory Fuel 4-wide salute in proper here at Rockingham Speedway. This is just so cool. I love that they do this. A couple of other partners with the group here, Reigel Promotions, of course, including Admin Box, Third Party Gaming, 618 Engraving and Design, Premier Racing Setups, Richard Murtaugh Racing Driver Academy, Night Owl Racing League, and 14M Graphics and Logos. We'll talk more about each partner throughout the course of this broadcast, but that's a taste of who helps the Reigel Promotions Sports Series, and in this case, the Pavement Series that is next in action at Kansas in about a month and a half. Carl, this is cool. We don't see this often. Maybe the BRB Racing League should do this soon.
You know, I think they've pushed for it. I know the guys have talked about wanting to do this, but yeah, this is so cool when leagues and drivers all get together and do this. And they may be under pace, but running 4 wide like that, especially for a full lap or two like they did, is actually still really, really difficult. Especially if you don't have extended peripherals or anything like that, a single monitor, you're just kind of guessing and hoping the right side is clear. So that is not easy to do. So hats off to these guys, and I love to see it. Good job.
Yeah, that's difficult, especially here. There's just enough room to get 4 wide. I don't know how they managed that and had no contact, but props off to these guys. And again, shows you the caliber of driver we've got in this 26 truck field. It's going to be a solid field that goes racing here for 200 laps. Let's go over Whiplash Simcam's race details. It's a 200-lap race, 6 setups, 4 change sets in the pit lane, 5 sets total. That, of course, relating to tires. So 4 change tire sets in the pit lane if they need them. 100% fuel, no fast fix, and up to 3 green light checkers if they need them. This is going to be a ruthless, cutthroat kind of race. 200 laps. You've got to save your stuff and be there at the end. But also, you've got to manage that short run and get yourself in position for the long run. It's one of those things, you've got to be up on the wheel all night long. There's no resting unless it's a caution, and even then, you got to be heads up and alert. But here we go. The iRacing.com safety car should peel off into the safety of pit lane. No, we're going to do one more formation lap and let these guys go racing the next time. So, Carl, what do you make of the no fast fix, especially at a place like this? I know BRB recently came here, so that's our most recent kind of reference as to what it's like to race here without a fast fix, and it was ruthless and cutthroat to some of you guys.
Yeah, you're going to have to be patient. Patient with yourself, patient with the track, patient with the drivers around you. You don't have that fast fix, and damage early, while it can be repaired, it still affects you, still messes with your race, still messes with your tires, and you mentioned saving your stuff. Only 4 changes permitted this evening here at Rockingham, and this track is hot. It is boiling hot, and it is going to eat some tires up. So saving those tires are also going to be crucial. You want to avoid that damage and avoid using all your tires, but we're going to find out here in just a couple of corners.
You mentioned the track is hot, 121 degrees. That's pretty warm despite the 65-degree air temp. So even though it's relatively cool here in the air, it's a roasting hot track temp, and that's going to throw these guys for a bit of a loop. Should be a lot of fun to watch for us, though, in the booth. Here we go. Off of turn number 4 and 2. The Geico restart zone will turn these guys loose this evening. Green flag brought to you by... Hang on, I gotta find it. It's a long list. I'll find it. Well, anyways, green flag is out. It's the third-party gaming green flag. How could I forget? One car sideways in the back, one car completely spun around. That's Donnie Battius in the 67. He'll get his car righted, or his truck rather, as we go trucking this evening at Rockingham. One lap complete.
Yeah, I'm going to make that mistake all night long, and I'm going to call them cars no matter what happens. I know they're trucks. They look like trucks. I have a truck, but they're going to be cars all night long. But yeah, it looks like they're already getting single filed out. A little bit of battling here. It looks like that's the 48 of Scott, or the 148 of Scott Fritz, and the 52 there. But Scott Fritz going to make that pass. And riding along with Cameron Craighead here in 7th. Looks like for now, as Harvards runs the fastest lap so far, a lot of the drivers are running the low line of 1 and 2 and taking it easy. It looks like they're definitely tiptoeing around that turn 2 exit. So, like we said and hit on earlier, Angie, these guys look like they're in it for the long haul, trying to save what they have.
One car pitting, and it looks like this might be a restart violation if I had to guess. Braxton DeWeese straight to the pit lane. This would not be a competition-style pit stop. There's no way. In 3 laps of racing, he needs tires or fuel. So my guess is this is a restart violation. Might have launched a little bit too early outside of that restart box. And this is likely going to put him, if not a lap down, awfully close to a lap down. He's leaving the pit lane now, and the field is rounding turn 1.
I was hearing chatter at the green flag that there was someone jumping the restart, and that would make sense. Ooh, as there's some contact down there in the back stretch with Zach Mertes, and they're going 3 wide into 3. Looks like they're going to sort it out, but yeah, look at that. So 3 cars, 3 different lanes almost through that corner. So Zach Mertes looks like he's going to triumph over these 2 races for now, but he still has a long way to go.
Yeah, so Zach holds on to the spot. He takes 7th, David Flanagan into 8th, William Owens into 9th, and Lataro Lamperti into the 10th spot. Lamperti is an interesting case. He runs into this race second in the standings, an opportunity to move up for sure into that top spot, but is running down right around the 10th spot, in the 10th spot, in fact. We'll have to watch out for car 91 as this race goes on. And he's not your traditional oval racer. You see the South America Club tied to him, the relatively exotic sounding name compared to maybe Jonathan Adkins, which is relatively American sounding. So this is an interesting case for Lataro. I'm intrigued, nonetheless, to see how he can do this evening. So far, a solid start, top 10.
And you just want to get used to the car, get used to the truck, get used to the track, and you just want to know how it's going to handle throughout. And especially some of these guys haven't raced with each other, and they haven't raced for a month. So just trying to figure out how your competitors drive, and just wanting to make sure you get a good rapport with them before you really start pushing the issue, I think is a good plan. But oh, you see that some cars bouncing off that apron, and that's one thing you don't want to do. A little loose out of 3 as they are stacking up quick around the 27 of Rooney, and this is kind of further on back. I don't know if these guys are saving, but man, it is definitely chaos back here.
Yes, it is. This is down in the 11th and 12th spots. Ty Dickinson, Jimbo Rooney. Dickinson in the 67, Rooney in the 27. Sean Smith right behind. They get single file now, but they work side by side for some time. Here's Octavio Rondoletto. We've seen him before in the X-Car series. He moves on by Sean Smith here into turn 1, and Octavio will take over 13th spot. Another driver with that South America Club tag. Teammate, I do believe, to Lataro Lamperti. Pretty interested to see how Octavio can do over the course of this race as well. Again, not your traditional oval racer, a little bit of an exotic name, and we like that. We like the diversity here in this series, and this brings out all kinds of drivers, even brings out Zach Rose. So this definitely brings out a lot of different guys from a lot of different backgrounds, and we want to cover all those as best as we can. Those are a couple of those other backgrounds that we don't usually see in an oval race. Here's Rocky Boy the third, though. We see him a lot in the Sarah Super Series and the other events, the Sarah National Tour and such. That's I think we're seeing the most. But Rocky Boy running down to the 15th spot so far. There's a group back here that's kind of fallen off the pace. Here's a good look from turn 1. This is behind Blake Thronberg and Corey Denson. This is Bill Miller, Ben Wirt, and Robert Puckett. At the very back of the field. They hang on to the lead lap for now. Only one car is a lap down. It's Donnie Battius. He's out of the race for now.
These guys at the back of the pack actually aren't driving too terribly slower than the lead pack right now. As the lead pack we see is getting bunched up, and Zach Mertes trying to make a run at Scott Fritz there, and that is for position number 5, I believe. So Zach Mertes trying to make a move for the top 5 position, as you see the 31 of David Flanagan try to take the inside of turn 3 there and try to take that 7th spot away, but it's not going to happen. It looks like there's going to be a run down the front straightaway by that 58, it looks like, and he's going to make the inside work a 1 or 2, but man, that momentum on the outside of both corners seems to be working for these drivers right now. I'm a little concerned about tire wear as we see a battle for 2nd place. Matthew Selby making the move, and I don't know about you, Andrew, but that looked like maybe the 44 is just kind of in his own rhythm, trying to save his stuff and not really willing to fight too hard right now.
Yeah, that was a big move from Matt Selby, who up to 2nd spot over Josh Cottle, who we know a lot about. This, though, is Zach Mertes going by Scott Fritz, and Fritz now being freight trained on the outside by Cameron Craighead. That'll bring David Flanagan into the mix as well. So a big, lively battle here in the top 10 from Matt Selby all the way down to David Flanagan and others inside this top 10. In fact, all the way down to Matt Purdy, who runs 10th. All these guys are on top of one another right now. Adkins got by Cottle as well. So Cottle's starting to drop. Zach Mertes now in line to take that spot away in 5th.
Yeah, we're already seeing the comers and goers of this race. We're already on lap 16, so we've completed 15, coming on completion of lap 16. We're seeing some of our early front runners start fall back, and some of the guys who qualified further on back are moving forward. So already, so early on in this race, we're seeing how it's going to develop and how the tires are wearing. But right now, it looks like DeWeese, who had that earlier drive-through penalty for a possible restart violation, is under threat of going a lap down. And unless a caution comes out, it is hard to get laps back here.
Meanwhile, Joseph Groom has gone a lap down, and he will fall in behind all of these top 10 drivers. You see Mertes has now gone by the white truck of Josh Cottle. That puts Cameron Craighead right in behind that 44 machine. Josh Cottle, we know a lot about him from the Sarah Super Series, usually running with the shop. Tonight, an unsponsored number 44 entry for Josh Cottle. Has a lap led from the start of the race. Started 2nd, got that one led when the 8 truck of Braxton DeWeese had to go to the pit lane. And Cottle has since dropped through the field. Usually a short track racer, moving up to the trucks this evening on this big speedway style racetrack. Interesting to see how he's doing so far. Cameron Craighead is also impressing so far. Started 8th up to 5th and working on 4th as he goes to the inside here of Zach Mertes.
Zach Mertes and Cameron Craighead have almost been attached at the hip since the first, I don't know, about the lap 5 and on. They've kind of mirrored each other, maybe pass a little bit, but their progression through the field has seemed to be really kind of step for step with each other as we ride on board the Cameron right now. And we see with Mertes up to 4th, we see the leader there. And again, look at the multiple lines that they're running, how bumpy that is through 4. Just insane how rough it is, and trying to keep the truck underneath you is just crazy. But right now, 80 of Harvards is definitely in the lead. He's got almost a second over Matt Selby, which sits there in 6th or in 2nd. And Matt Selby, once he made that pass for 2nd, hasn't been able to make up that time. So right now, Harvard's doing something right.
You see the delta at the bottom right of the screen, the gap between Jacob Harvards and Matthew Selby. Harvards doing a great job so far of maintaining the tires on that number 80 truck. One truck in the pit lane, that's going to be Donnie Battius coming back out onto the racetrack. Many laps down, but you got to try and salvage some points here if you're running full-time in the Reigel Promotions Pavement Series. And that's something to talk about as well. This is a one-race kind of deal for a lot of these guys, a lot of drivers entering this race and only this race, but this is a series that runs over the course of the full year. In fact, if we look at the schedule, at least I can go over it verbally here, the next race is at Kansas, the Heartland 200 on May 28th. Then they have a break all the way to September the 3rd for the Summer Showcase at Iowa. Then it's the Jack-O-Lantern 200 Auto Club on October 9th, and the World Championships finale on November 20th at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So these guys are seeing a lot of one-off entries, but they are running for a full season championship over the course of 2025 and into the later months this year. Battling deep in the field, Ben Wirt and Corey Denson. Wirt gets the spot. Denson moves down to 21st spot and will fall back in line behind the 14. Back up in the top 10. We saw how much Craighead and Mertz were attached. Well, Craighead starting to fall back as Flanagan moves forward, and here comes Lautaro Lamperti.
And that could just be a simple sign of trying to race a little harder than your tires are willing to go, because it's so easy, especially with such a hot racetrack, so easy to warm up these tires and get them slick, and you just start losing that grip. It does not take long, and it's so easy to push it over the edge just a little too much and make them angry. And it's possible that's what we had with Craighead there, as we see the looks like the 91 of Lamperti make the pass around the outside, and Craighead now one of those drivers who did start with some good pace and now falling off. So curious. Oh, as we see a truck go way down the inside, down the back straight, may have had a little bit of help getting down there, but all clean, all green, so no worries right now with William Owens, currently 13.
Craighead down the racetrack, that time out of turn 4, falls all the way back to Josh Cottle, who's going to steal the inside lane here. Here's Cottle's on board, and Cottle will try to get by the 58. Here's the on board of the 58 car, or truck rather, as they run side by side through turns 3 and 4. Craighead the advantage on the outside, but Cottle wants to take it away.
He is trying, but that's the kind of the downside of the inside line is you don't have that run, especially if you're racing side by side with another driver. It's hard to get that run off the corners. It looks like the 44 is going to kind of tuck in behind 58 and maybe bide his time. Oh, he makes another dive at it, going into 3, and they are again side by side coming out of 4. He's going to hug that yellow line, but you look at that, he just tries to get as much room off the exit as possible to carry as much momentum as possible, but just does not have enough track there to make it happen as they go side by side through 1 and 2 again.
Bit of a moment for Lamperti. He goes down the racetrack and loses the spot to his teammate Octavio Rondoletto. Octavio moves by for 6th, and Lamperti was racing with Flanagan for the 5th spot. Flanagan came down off of the wall, off of turn 2, and kind of, I don't want to say shucked, but kind of shucked the 91 down the racetrack a little bit, like a corn husk. He came off the racetrack, or came off the wall anyways, and kind of moved the 91 down the track, and everybody hung on. They keep on racing, but it was a moment for sure. Is honestly, Carl, we got to start thinking about long run, not only long run pace, but also the possibility of green flag pit stops. Not something I would have expected to see going into this event, just based on the race details and the amount of drivers entering. I thought we'd have some cautions, and I'll knock on wood just in case, but this is surprising me so far. 31 laps in, no yellows. We've got to think about green flag pit stops.
Oh, I'm thoroughly impressed by these drivers. We mentioned it was like lap 2 or 3 they were trying to go single file and not press the issue. They're making passes, they're doing a lot, but yeah, I don't know the fuel run. You mentioned we ran the cup car a while ago, and I think we run 80%. I think we could do like 57 laps, something like that. So I'd imagine that these trucks, their fuel load is going to be roughly the same. It's hard to say, but more importantly is the tires. The tires. You're going to hear the tires all day long at this track. And who makes that first stop? If you make a green flag stop here, you're going to go down at least a lap, if not 2. You've got to be super careful of that. And then if the caution falls, you could be the unlucky guy and be caught in the back there. So it's such a game of cat and mouse almost between yourself and the other drivers around you. What are you willing to risk, and what are you hoping to gain out of it?
One truck in the wall there through 1 and 2. That was Octavio Rondoletto. He makes the pass anyways on David Flanagan, so moves up into the 5th spot. And you know, this is somebody I tagged in the beginning as somebody to watch. One of those drivers that has a unique overracing background and is trying out what he could do here in the Reigel Promotions Sports Series. In this case, the Pavement Series. Moves now to the inside of Zach Mertz and will look for 4th position. Side by side, they go off the corner. And Rondoletto, gets a nose ahead as Mertz gets the wall.
Yeah, just that wall contact out of 2 slows you up so much, and I don't think it depends. Oh, looks like Mertes getting loose going out of 4, but he gathers it up, but he's going to lose a ton of ground. He's going to lose 1 spot, maybe 2 before he goes into turn 1, but right now oh, look at that, loose on entry 2. It looks like Zachary has a huge balance issue on his hands, as it were, and he is just struggling through it right now.
He's falling back to Josh Cottle. That'll be for 8th position. Cottle's made his way by Cameron Craighead. Shockley's made his way to the top 10 along with Rocky Boyd. This is interesting to watch for somebody who was rather speedy there to get the race started. Zach Mertes falling backwards now. It's the wall here in 1 and 2. There goes Josh Cottle right on by. So this is he's one of the goers right now. We'll see comers and goers over the course of a long run, and right now Zach is unfortunately one of the goers where he's burned his stuff up. He was quick, but he's burned his stuff up and is falling backwards. Look at how much battling he's doing on the wheel. And you know, these are big and boxy trucks. You wouldn't think they'd get that sideways, especially with all the side force the bodies generate. Let me tell you, after a Bristol League race last week, they get sideways. They will step out. They've got just enough power to do it, and setups like this, a custom fixed setup, will absolutely get you a little bit slideways, as we're seeing here for Zach Mertes.
Well, for the most part, general consensus of iRacing fixed setups are generally tight, and I feel like it's pretty level through all the series on iRacing. I haven't gotten the pleasure to do a lot of custom setup runs, so it's hard to say, but a lot of setup guys, a lot of setup shops like to loosen that truck up, and if you're not used to it, it can definitely catch you unawares. But we're looking at a 3-way battle here between Flanagan, Lamperti, and Cottle, all for 5th spot, and right now, Cottle and Lamperti are a couple of those drivers that are actually making their way forward. Flanagan might have leveled off there. He did have some speed. Came up with Lamperti as well. But right now, Flanagan also struggling as Cottle tries to make his way around Lamperti.
We saw Josh Cottle drop through the top 10 to get this race started. He started 2nd place, led a lap, and dropped all the way to 9th position. He's now moving through this field as the tires come to him, as Cameron Craighead is going to take an early pit stop here. This is very early, but could be a move to get an undercut on the beginning of the field here and try to move up the order that way. This is... I wouldn't be pitting yet, I'll tell you that, but it's a strategy move for sure.
Well, they have 4 extra sets of tires, and him pitting right now sets them up to use all of them at the 40 lap intervals. That is definitely a strategy, and it looks like Craighead's going to be one of those drivers that tries to implement that strategy. He takes all 4 tires. You see the left side of that truck go up, go down, and he is away. And I don't know how much time. I don't think he's lost a lap yet, but I know he's close. Oh, he has? Okay, so yeah, just like that, he is a lap down. So if it stays green, then this could work in his favor, depending on how long the drivers in front run it out. But it's only time will tell. And we're already seeing a lot of handling issues on these trucks, as we saw on board with Zach Mertes. Right now, side-by-side battle with Flanagan and the 44 of Cottle. So yeah, I'm still working on the names. It's especially not coming around regularly, but yeah, it's going to be exciting especially as we see these 2 trucks battle. It just opens the door more for an opportunity to have incident.
Here's a battle between Tyler Bentley and Zach Mertes. Mertes loses the spot and will fall back now to the 12th position. Bentley moves forward. Scott Fritz has gone up to 10th spot. Jumps Shockley to 9th, and Rocky Boyd into 8th position as we see 1 truck pit. That's Ty Dickinson. He's a lap down, relatively a non-factor right now, but we'll keep an eye on him just in case he comes back to the field at some point. It'll take a whole lot of work, but if anybody's up to it, it's got to be him, right?
Oh, of course. You got to keep trying, and I will be the first one to preach about points. You always want to get points that you can get. Even though it's a 6-race season, every point can still matter, and it's important, You never know. And it looks like Craighead opened the floodgates, as it were, as we see another 2, 3, 4 drivers come down. That's Denson, Puckett, all these drivers trying to make hay on an undercut and see if they can capitalize.
And Jacob Harbert's lead in the last couple of laps has gone from 1.5 seconds to about 0.4 seconds. So he has dropped down a bunch behind these lap trucks. and is trying to lap one now. That's the 12, it looks like, as one is in the grass. Was that Blake Thromberg? I think it was. He's got
he was in the grass. Big time save. No caution though, but I know there was some something being said over the radio. Didn't quite catch, but pull up the Pit Stop TV replay. We see him low at a 3, or this on the backstretch. Sorry, Blake Thronberg going into 3 now. Got it under control. Terra taps the apron just a little bit and gets loose out of 4. Yeah, you can't do that. Oh, saves it. Keeps it out of the wall. Good for him. But, man, that grass has no grip. And he's just along for the ride. Comes across the track. Wow. How is that not a yellow? I will never know.
We saw a crazier one here in the BRB race not so long ago. But here's a bit of a moment for Flanagan and Lamperti trying to get by the 12 truck. That's going to be Dylan McKee. They get by that machine and put him a lap down as Rocky Boyd moves up behind these two. And it's sounding like from the YouTube chat there was a moment, we can't go back and get it now, it's a little too far gone, but a moment between the 22 of Thronberg and the 67 of Dickinson, and that shot Dickinson into the pit lane when he didn't want to pit, it sounds like. So problems there. There's contact here between Flanagan and Lamperti, and that's going to send Flanagan into a spin. Here comes caution number 1, I think.
And there it is. Oh, man. The first caution at lap 50. Oh, and if you pit, you got to stay out almost because you know you're going to be a lap down. But the damage that is done to the 31-2, I will be curious to see how he reacts and how his truck handles. But yeah, we were mentioning it. These tires are going away, and drivers are already making pit stops. But Lamperti was to the inside. They're doing a little right down the front straightaway. Oh, and then I don't know if Flanagan was expecting Lamperti to go further down the track. That might have been one of those situations there, Andrew.
That's what it looks like to me. Is it looks like Flanagan is expecting Lamperti to enter lower and drop down the racetrack here. Let's slow it down. Lamperti clearly is committed to the middle lane. See Rocky Boyd sideways behind these two, but Flanagan just drives down and I mean, I hate to say this, but he drives down and hits the 91 and throws himself for a bit of a spin. Nothing really done wrong by either driver. The 31 just expected one thing, the 91 expected another. And unfortunately, it's the 31 that goes for the spin as the result. You see the Jack Shack number 31 Toyota Tundra go for a bit of a spin and ends up on the far side of this yellow with a lot of trucks coming at him full speed. That had to have been scary as everybody came rocketing through.
That could have been much worse, considering where that was on the track. The damage was extremely minimal, and I think all of those drivers, all parties involved, are going to get that fixed and get back out there. As we see the battle off of pit road with the 48 and the 44 of Cottle. I thought I saw another car backwards on pit road. Don't know how that happened, but pit road can be an exciting place. There's no boring spot to look here at Rockingham. There is action everywhere.
While we have an opportunity under this first caution of the night, we'll go through some of the promotional partners of the Real Promotions Pavement Series, including, but not limited to, well, we're going to try and go through all of them here. Admin Box, Third Party Gaming, Dirt Series Promotions, Night All Racing League, Rear Racing Setups, RMR Driving Academy, Tick Trophies, 618 Engraving and Design, Thunder Valley Racing, Victory Fuel, and TJ Visuals. Now, you see the CC's caution graphic, that's standard here at Pit Stop TV, but every caution flag this evening is brought to you by a 618 Engraving and Design. Every caution and fastest lap is proudly presented by 618 Engraving and Design. Whether you need custom hats, koozies, or cutting boards, 618 Engraving and Design delivers precision craftsmanship for any event. Visit them online to explore their incredible custom products. My guess is you can search 618 Engraving and Design and their website should come up. So long as SEO does its job on the back end and whatnot, you should be able to search them in Google and bring up their website and find them online. Again, that's 618 Engraving and Design. Here we go to the Geico restart zone for another third-party gaming green flag. Let's get this race restarted the right way. Josh Cottle, Matt Selby, green flag back in the air. down Thunder Alley. One truck slow on the inside. That's going to be Bill Miller. The fight is on from second on back.
And what's going to be interesting, during that caution, Race Control came over and I guess gave the 91 an EOL for contact and causing that caution. So we will see Lamperti try to get his way through the field, but right now, the 40 of Rondoletto is making a charge for second, trying to chase down that 80 of Jacob Harberts. Is now the 46 of Selby's going to lose the spot to Boyd in the 16. 16 had some of that damage with contact with Flanagan, so it looks like he is going to be okay moving forward. And we see a little more battling, again, Flanagan, mentioning Flanagan there to the inside and trying to get that spot away from the 117 of Adkins.
Adkins battling with Flanagan is called out there. Adkins up the racetrack big time into turn 3, and caution is out.
I heard a unhappy Cameron Craighead. So yeah, Cameron Craighead, the 58, having issues. Oh, he is definitely messed up there, but we pull up the replay and see what happened to that 58.
Racing with the 11, that's going to be Joseph Groom. Groom a little bit slow off the corner, down the racetrack, and to be honest, as the passing car, Craighead kind of runs him over from that perspective, but we can look back at it from Craighead's point of view and get a better idea of what happened through turn 2. Let's look at it from the onboard on the roof cam here. It looks like Groom is doing his own thing, running where he needs to, and Craighead comes up, and I think he tagged the 11 and got him sideways. I think Craighead's going to realize that when he looks back at the replay.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there, Andrew. Looks like Craighead could have burped the throttle a little bit, given a little more space on corner exit. But yeah, I think Groom didn't do anything wrong there. Just I think that 58 was just trying to get forward because he had the speed. But man, that is going to be some heavy contact to see what Craighead can do to get that fixed and get that truck back out on track.
Slow it down here and I'll explain what I'm talking about when I say the 58 made contact with the 11, because if you look at it from this angle, it looks like there's no contact made, but the way this truck reacts right there, where it just snaps free all of a sudden, that's not a handling issue. What that is two hit boxes meeting in the middle. So iRacing prediction code is predicting that the 58 will be higher up the racetrack and or the 11 will be lower down the racetrack when they come out of the corner, and that the hit boxes don't always line up with the visual appearance of where the truck or car actually is on the racetrack. So in this case, the two hit boxes were predicted to meet, even though visually they wouldn't have met in the middle. What we call that is net code. iRacers hate it, but you gotta live by it. It's one of those things about sim racing. Only so many things can be perfect here, Carl. There's a lot going on, a lot of ones and zeros that make this happen. So not everything can be absolutely perfect. That's one of the imperfections of sim racing. It's something you gotta deal with.
100%. But that's what's fun about iRacing is we deal with the stuff that real life racers don't have to deal with, but real life racing deals with a lot of stuff we don't have to deal with. So it definitely adds to that realism. But it looks like we still have a lot of trucks on track right now. So I think we're still at 26 trucks. We still have a full field, and we are about ready to let them green again. This ought to get really exciting here.
24 on the track, 19 on the lead lap, as 5 are 1 lap down or more. The only driver 1 lap down right now is Joseph Groom in that number 11. The iRacing.com safety car peels back off to the relative safety of pit lane, and we are back green flag racing, brought to you by Third Party Gaming. Green flag back in the air here at Rockingham. Braxton DeWeese in the middle of the field, 13 spots so far. He started this race in the pole position, got an infraction penalty for the original start of this race. He's trying to drive back through. Let's ride on board. Gives up the corner there for the 21 of William Owens. That was smart driving.
Oh yeah, I was about to mention that there. He just got out of the corner really early there, didn't want to push the issue. And that's why he's up there in 13th, making a move for 12th. is even with that early penalty, you can recover from penalties early. You can recover from mistakes early. If you make them later, that's where they really, really hurt you. But yeah, he's been able to take care of his tires, take care of that truck, and recover from that penalty to be knocking on the door of the top 10. So good for him. You saw him qualify on pole, so him getting to the front is no easy task for sure. But if anyone can do it, I think it would definitely be that 8 truck.
You know, one thing that makes racing penalties different from proper, no, I don't want to say proper, but traditional sports penalties. Say you have a holding call in football in the 4th quarter, you can have enough points to make that a non-issue. You can use all 3 quarters leading up to that, and even part of the 4th quarter to lead up to that, and have enough points to make it a non-issue. You can have a big enough lead, even if you lose that drive down the field and give that ball up because you're so many yards back from the penalty. Even if that happens, you can have enough points on the scoreboard so you're okay. In racing, however, the score is fluctuating over the course of the race. So if you give up a penalty in the proverbial 4th quarter here in a race, you're going back to 0. You're losing all of those points you would have accrued. So you can work yourself up to a big lead. You just have to hope that that lead is big enough. In this case, it was early, so it wasn't. He fell back. Hopefully that makes sense. It's a different analogy. I've never thought about it that way or used it that way. Hopefully that made sense, but it's completely different from stick and ball sports. Racing, the score is fluctuating. You can lose everything at the very end of the race if you're not careful.
It's all because you want to be the first car to finish the race. That's what it comes down to. You want to be that first truck, and the further on back you are, the worse off you are. I got it. I was translating for you there, Andrew. I couldn't have worded it any better myself, but I was on the same wavelength. So I think we're understanding each other. But we'll look now. Zach Mertez, early truck with speed in the last run. It's still there. It looks like he's running in 10th. Getting past by the 8 of DeWeese. So DeWeese already on the hard charge, getting his way forward in the 91 behind them. It started with an EOL, but a couple cautions restarts ago, all the way working on the 12th position. But right now we're looking here up in the 3rd, 4th, 5th positions. The 16 of Boyd, the 3rd, trying to chase down the 117 to the 117 of Adkins, trying to make a really, really hard push to the outside of the 48. Man, that was a bold move.
That's 2 in 2 laps. Adkins got by Boyd, then by Rondoletto, and moves up into the 2nd spot and is already taking out a chunk of the lead of Harbert. So he's down about 3.5 tenths back, somewhere around there off the corner. Let's see what the gap is like through the corner here, down to 3 tenths. Jonathan Adkins has got some big-time pace in that 117. Here he goes up the top lane, going to drive right up to our race leader and might go right on by Jacob Harbert.
Ooh, a little connection issue there, but they are still going strong and has enough speed to get to the outside. And Adkins has really been using that outside line to his advantage, using that momentum to sling around. But I am a little concerned about tire strategy on this. We see how quickly the tires can fall off on these trucks, especially if you push them too hard too early. And we're going to see exactly what happens to the 117 of Adkins. But right now, Adkins went from being back there to having a 3/10 of a second lead.
With these guys pitting on that caution around lap 50, I wouldn't be surprised if we would see these guys kind of break the race down into quarters from here on out. 50, 50, 50, and 50. 4 50s, that makes sense. So they pitted around 50. I wouldn't be surprised if we see them pit around 100, maybe a little bit longer, and then again around 150, and save a set for the end of the race just in case. I don't mind the strategy that we saw some drivers use earlier of pitting on the 40s, but you're going to use an extra set that way, make an extra stop that way, and be less well suited for the end of the race should we get a caution. I think if you pit on the 50s, that's giving yourself a little bit of insurance and trying to keep the truck a little bit more fast on the racetrack. You know, not running super long runs and slow lap times on super old tires when you don't need to. So we'll see if that sticks for these guys or what they end up doing. But right now you're watching Jacob Harbert and Octavio Rondoletto go at it for 2nd place. This is interesting because Harbert has got himself out to a lead and then kind of willingly almost fell back to Adkins, let the lead go, and is now about to let 2nd place go here to Rondoletto.
And this is interesting from Jacob Harbert because with that clean air, he pretty much dominated that first quarter of the race. Those first 50 laps, it was the Harbert show. But right now, falling back to second and now third, with Cottle trying to creep up there as we see him further on back in the white 44 truck. I'm wondering if he felt something towards the end of that run, Herbert's that is, that maybe he wants to try and not push it so hard early, give a couple spots now, and then take him back when the other tires have worn out. Adkins, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried about his tire strategy, but we'll see what happens. We saw drivers, but with 40 laps on their tires come to pits. Right now, I don't think it really worked out for them. As you said, Andrew, you want to keep a set of tires. But it's hard to say. It's all situational. If you're further on back in the field, you kind of want to run it long, see what happens. If you are further up front, you want to try to undercut. So really, that strategy depends on where you are and where you end up. It's so hard here at Rockingham.
Speaking of things being a little bit more difficult, here is Braxton DeWeese making the difficult charge back through the field. He is up to 8th position in the 8 truck and working on David Flanagan. They were side by side for a moment, but DeWeese has since fallen back behind the Jack Shack 31 machine. Selby rides ahead as well. Rocky Boyd in the 5th spot, so some tough competition up ahead. Flanagan the points leader. We know how good Selby is from the VRB Racing League, along with Rocky Boyd from the Sarah National Tour last year in 2024. And these are really tough drivers to race against, and DeWeese is taking it on. Here he goes, the inside of the points lead.
And there he goes, and looks like he's going to be able to try to make a move on Selby as well, because Selby's losing some of that time. But again, that inside line is just struggling versus the outside line, and Selby struggling out of 2 there, getting the move put on him by Flanagan. And DeWeese was trying to make the same move as he gets through the outside wall. That was not light contact at all. That was going to be rough. That's going to be interesting. See if that puts that wheel out of alignment. I wouldn't think it would be that bad, but man, he lost a ton of speed, DeWeese did.
These trucks are super sensitive. I found that out myself in a league race at Bristol last week. I ran in the Untitled Friend League, a series we used to cover here on Pit Stop TV. There was 200 laps at Bristol in the truck, a custom fix setup, and as soon as you got rear damage at all, whether it was from wall contact like that or somebody hitting you or whatever, the truck handling went away completely. And I'm afraid that could be something that rears its head this evening. But so far for DeWeese, here he goes, making a move on Selby. It seems like that truck is bouncing back okay. So one of two things. Either the damage isn't going to be a factor, or number 2, he didn't get enough damage for it to be a factor. So DeWeese looks okay for now. Makes a move here on Selby for 7th. We've also got Harberts and Octavia Rondeletto going at it.
And there we are. Harbert's trying to hold off on that second, because we know Rondeletto's been maintaining that spot, but with this battle, it's just allowing Adkins already with a 2.3, 2.4 second lead over the rest of the field is just kind of unthinkable, and everyone else is bunched up, but them battling there in that second spot is going to help Adkins a lot with that gap. So you got to pick your battles. You got to know when to make the move and when to kind of maybe slot into a slot behind the driver in front, because you don't want to lose that time. And it's so hard when you know to make that move. Will you be able to make it, or are you going to have to fight side by side? And again, the 2.5 second lead for Adkins, that just kind of compounds issues.
Adkins is driving away so far. Here on Lap 82, I want to talk about the partners here at Pit Stop TV that help us put these broadcasts on. Whiplash SimCam's one of them, along with ATVO, CC's Business, Cody Williams Design, Lucky Performance, and the North American Racing League. And while we often, in fact, every broadcast, we talk about the Lucky Performance, Lucky Break of the Day, this evening we've got something a little bit different to consider. We will still have the Lucky Performance, Lucky Break of the Day. We'll talk about that over the course of the broadcast, and in the next 100 laps or so, we're going to settle in on something. We haven't really found anything just yet, but looking through the different partners of this series, we also have the Premier Racing Setup's Hard Luck Award. So we've got a good luck and a bad luck award this evening. We're going to talk about each one. So far, bad luck award, I think, is going to go to Cameron Craighead. Had that bad luck, got in that incident in turn 2. He's now out of the race.
Yeah, I would say that is bad luck. Netcode is never a fun thing. Very rarely does it work out in anyone's favor. But yeah, I would definitely qualify that as a hard luck. But right now, the lucky driver, hard performance right now is I would say to almost anyone in this group, as we're watching 5 under a blanket, and Jacob Harbert's trying to make a move on Rondoletto again, going side by side, and right now Cottle is very, very much on their bumper as well. So if anyone makes a mistake, Cottle will be there to either take advantage or also be caught up in that mistake, as Cottle makes a move on Harberts himself. So look at that, just like that, in that battle for one position, you're in jeopardy of losing another position, and that's just how Rockingham is. It's so difficult to get a handle and get a rhythm on this track, and I think Harbert's maybe having that issue with that dirty air.
And these guys are now 3 whole seconds behind Jonathan Atkins, who leads this race. That's a massive gap right now. We're going to keep watching this group for now, but definitely a big gap for Atkins ahead as Harberts falls into 3rd spot again and holds onto it for now over Josh Cottle. Cottle is an interesting entry because Harberts has got some teammates. He's got, that was close off the quarter. He's got the 22 of Blake Thronberg, as well as technically, in the same setup shop, technically Matt Selby and Scott Fritz. They all come from the CFM or do that in that whole conjunction, I believe. I could be mistaken. But they're all somehow in the same group. Josh Cottle, though, is kind of here on his own right now. And you see that. He's got no sponsors on the truck, no logos or anything. They go by Octavio Rondoletto. He's just kind of doing his own thing this evening, which makes it interesting to me that he's in the top 3. He's one of those kind of solo drivers right now, no real affiliations in this race, and is holding his own for sure.
Hey, sometimes you want to go solo, and sometimes you're more effective that way, and I think Cottle is maybe having some of that go on with him. He's working really good with the drivers around him. He's making passes. Not ruffling too many feathers, and still has the speed. So, as I say that, he's losing a little bit out of 4 with Boyd coming at him across the start-finish line into 1. But yeah, you see the leaders, even Harbert's still so far away, I guess, from where the leader is, and we may be coming up on lap traffic as well. So, again, lap traffic going to be a factor.
Oh, that's close off the corner. Rocky Boyd, the 3rd to the outside of Jacob Harberts. We've seen this before in other series here on Pit Stop TV. We're seeing it here this evening in the Reigel Promotions Spring Rush. And into the wall that time in 1 and 2 was Rocky Boyd. Still going to make the pass on Jacob Harberts. That's good for 2nd. Send Harberts back to 3rd. Rondoletto down to 5th. Cottle in 4th. Everything is changing in this top 5. And we even got other battles. David Flanagan and Braxton DeWeese side by side off the turn number 4 here. DeWeese trying to move up into 6th place. Doesn't have it just yet.
And there he is on that inside line to see if Flanagan could hold that outside line, hold that momentum, and keep him on the inside, maybe pinch him down and kind of restrict his run. And yep, just like that, still side by side coming out of 2. Looks like the 67 is going to move to the side a little bit for our leaders and go another lap down. But DeWeese using the inside line at 3 and 4. Will he be able to arc it up there? No. Flanagan still maintaining the outside line, still side by side.
That's bad. He is going a lap down. He's now 21 laps down as Ty Dickinson will make his exit from the pit lane here. He will rejoin the field 19 laps down. But side by side still, you've got the 8 and 31. There they are into turn 3. The 8's going to get held up here. Maybe as Badius holds low. DeWeese, though, will clear Flanagan and go by. Here comes Flanagan back to the inside.
Oh man, almost 3 wide going into 1, but looks like Flanagan may have let off just a little bit early just to make sure that he can make that corner, not get into the door of the 8 truck. But there we are. That battle looks like to have resolved itself, but now it goes to Mertes and Lamperti. Lamperti had an EOL a couple of restarts ago. He is recovering from that in the 9th position. As we see Mertes with the graze to the outside of the turn 4 wall. It's going to be a tight run for now. Mertes might have learned something on that first run, been able to kind of maintain his position a little more consistently than last time.
And if we get a chance here on another caution flag, we'll speak with Zach Burtis and see how his race is going. But he is approaching David Flanagan here, again, points leader in this event, in this series. And it's going to be interesting to see when these guys go to Kansas. I'm not sure where the broadcast will be. We'll find out, I'm sure, in the Reigel Promotions Discord server. But when they go to Kansas, this point shakeup is going to be huge. From race 1 to race 2, a lot has changed. A lot of different drivers were down from 35 or so cars down to 26 this evening. So things are going to be very, very different going into the next round in Kansas. But one constant is that Flanagan runs up front. I don't see Scott Fritz running the same way. Fritz, who came into tonight third in the standings, runs down in 13th spot right now, battling the racetrack. So Flanagan is a constant. Fritz, not so much.
Yeah, Fritz and Selby, I thought this was kind of in their wheelhouse. They're really struggling with the tire wear here. But that's a lot of the drivers though today. We saw Zach Mertes earlier at the end of that first run. A lot of the drivers getting very, very loose towards the end of that run, and we're kind of on that area of danger, that danger zone, as it were. Lap 98, they were last on pit road 47 laps ago, so these tires are wearing out, and again, we're seeing who can hold them and who is going to fold them, and it looks like Zachary Mertes going to take the outside line around 3 and 4, make that pass on Flanagan, but is it going to be enough? Oh, they almost touch, but he makes that pass, and he will be in that one extra position crossing the finish line.
As we work up on halfway here, Mertes makes the pass for 7th as Jonathan Adkins leads down the backstretch. He's down to a 1.3 second lead. That was over 3 seconds when Rocky Boyd took over second spot. Now, a few laps later, lap 100 underway, it is a 1.2 second lead for Jonathan Adkins. So Boyd is cutting into that lead for now and is quickly approaching and bringing Harberts along with. Harbert's approaching, he's 1.7 seconds back. Rondeletto 2.2 seconds back as he battles with Josh Cottle. And here we go. On the cross flag lap, halfway this time by, we have got some proper racing throughout the top 5 and a leader that's being run down.
Yeah, we're getting those cross sticks. The leader getting his lead cut by half. Almost over, because he's just over a second ahead. Yeah, those tires, like I said, Andrew, those tires are going to definitely yell at him later, and that's what they're doing with Rocky Boyd, making his way forward, and now under a second, really flirting with that second border, but I don't think that Atkins is going to have that lead too much longer, but we are going to see pit stops. I think we've already seen a couple pit stops, but yeah, but those tires are definitely wearing out on these drivers, and these drivers are definitely looking to get a new set of rubbers on.
On board with Rocky Boyd as he makes the approach, Jonathan Adkins down to 7, now 6/10. And I think Adkins, yeah, he's coming to the pit. Adkins coming to the pit lane here on lap 102. He will make a stop and take what should be full service. I would imagine this is a 4-tire stop along with full tank of fuel. This is interesting that he's pitting here, but he's trying to get the undercut and get back out there. Again, pitting on the 50s, trying to save his set for the end of the race. I don't think this is a bad strategy at all.
No, because after this, you turn into a one-stop race. You have a set of tires left over for a late race caution. I think so far this could be a winning strategy, a winning combination, Andrew, but we have a lot more to go. We have 97 laps to go still. Just under half the race, and right now Rocky Boyd with that clear air. But Jacob Harbert's about 6/10, 5/10 back from there. And then after that, it's the whole crew. It is going to be fun to see if Harbert's has anything saved for Boyd, and if any of these drivers start making their way down pit road as well.
On board of Jacob Harbert's in the number 80 as he chases down Rocky Boyd the third. This is lap 105 of a total of 200 this evening. This race rocketing by. We've been green for less than an hour. We're more than half the way through this thing. And I will knock on wood there, because anything can happen. And we don't want a bunch of cautions to slow this race down. So I'll knock on wood for us, but this has been a really, really good race so far. We're looking at the race info. 2 cautions for 6 laps total, 3 lead changes, and we're working on a couple more maybe as Harberts runs this 16 truck down. And you can hear, I'll shut up for a second, listen in to how long these guys drop the throttle. Listen. All the way down to 5,500 RPMs down in 3 and 4. Let's see how low they get down in 1 and 2. Let's see, where does Harberts lift? Right about here. 5,200 RPMs, and he slowly modulates back into the gas. That is incredible. These guys are way off the throttle. And if this is a sign of what's to come on Friday with the NASCAR Truck Series race, these guys are going to be in for a wild, wild ride.
Oh yeah, and it takes so much discipline because I know one of my issues when I'm on a track is I always want to get on the throttle too early. I always push the exit a little too much. Oh, as we see a truck into the wall, I think that was turn 1. Yeah, that is some hard damage. Robert Puckett down in 20th. He's a few laps down in that number 45, but that right side just absolutely smashed, and that is going to draw our third caution of the night.
Selby had just pitted. Flanagan is slow, and I think Flanagan might be the reason for the yellow. Oh, yeah, that truck is all beat up. That's our points leader.
Yeah, that's you see the left side of that truck, and he is struggling with the tracking on that truck. But pulling up the pit stop TV replay, the 31 gets a little loose on a 4.
Trying to Lamperti again.
Yep, Lamperti. They have a history, and oh, there it goes. Whoa, that is could that be considered retaliation there? Because it looks like there's plenty of room for them to make that work there, Andrew.
I'm not thinking retaliation. I mean, he could have wrecked him any point on the straightaway if it was retaliation. This looks like they just kind of met in the middle again. And Lamperti this time kind of threw the car up the racetrack as opposed to wrestling it down. But you see Flanagan get hit by a couple other trucks trying to roll on by. I mean, this is a bad look, and I want to watch that one more time, and we'll slow it down here as well. Back it up maybe and watch it. Let's back it up and slow it down. They lift at the same time. You saw the flames out the side. Flanagan does come down the racetrack. That looks so similar to the first crash these two had until that point where I think Lamperti steered into the 31. I don't think he was happy about getting turned into again. This might be unpopular. I don't know how race control is going to rule on it. I think that time the 31 came down more than previously. He was down the racetrack into the middle lane where Lamperti was earlier and was again. This is an interesting one to say the least. Let's watch this from the web. This might show it nicely. Nice angle, actually. Lamperti's going for the middle, and Flanagan enters lower, and then Lamperti comes up the racetrack. That's, I don't know.
That's tough. I would not want to be in race control seat right there. Another repeat incidents with the same two trucks from earlier. Very similar situation, like you said, Andrew. I don't envy that call there. But right now we are seeing Rocky Boyd the third in the lead on a restart. So we still have 90 laps to go. Andrew, this race is far from over. We have another pit stop. We are going to see a little more strategy. Also, got to be thinking about that lucky break of the day. It's going to get fun. Going to get really, really fun here in a little bit.
Haven't really seen a lucky break of the day. I've seen a couple of hard luck awards. That one with Lamperti and Flanagan, I think, can be hard luck considering they've had the same incident twice. But let's see what happens here in the final 90. As Flanagan and Lamperti are both in the pit lane. There's Flanagan. There's Lamperti. I don't think they're going anywhere quickly, but here we go into the Geico restart zone once again. Another third-party gaming green flag. We're racing with 91 to go, and oh, did Rocky Boyd move too soon? And did you just see what I just saw?
Oh man, I wasn't sure if my eyes were playing tricks on me.
I just saw a truck flying through the air.
We got everything tonight at Rockingham. Great racing, flying trucks, you name it.
We'll let that lap go complete, and then I got to go back and see if we can find this truck flying through the air. Watch it. This is a replay. Watch the top of the screen. Now I'll slow it down. Watch the top of the screen. Something up there is spinning. You know what that is? You know what that is in the air? That is the back bumper of the 91 truck.
Oh, that is what it is. Wow.
It's only there for a split second. And there's no good way to show it. But that is a flying back bumper up in the sky. I have never. That's incredible.
tonight's a lot of firsts for Pit Stop TV with Rocky Boyd, the third running the fastest lap at a 24.512. Rocky Boyd the third really enjoying that clean air off of the restart, but Jacob Harbert's not giving him any room. Still a decent gap there of 3 to 4 tenths, but depending on how these drivers race their trucks, we can see that gap really decrease, depending on 20-25 laps of tire run here, but it's not too late to make a mistake, and that's all I'll say. Oh, as we see some action there, looks like the 0-2 of Zach Mertez and the 117 of Adkins was one of the first driver really to start the pit cycle from last green flag stop, but getting past there, Zach Mertez.
It was actually Chubb Shockley in the 0. Scored as the 13, but on the racetrack as the 0. Shockley moves back into the 6th position, Mertez into the top 5. The 117 you speak of, he's 9th place right now, just ahead of Scott Fritz, behind Blake Thronberg. There is Jonathan Adkins. So far, what we're learning is if you stay out, there will be a caution. And staying out might be the way to go tonight. I don't know if pitting on the 50s was the right idea for Jonathan Adkins in hindsight. I like the idea if it had gone green. Unfortunately, it didn't. Adkins now caught in 9th as opposed to being 1st.
I feel like I always have the same luck. It doesn't matter what strategy you call it, always be the wrong one. You stay out, you don't get the caution, but if you come in, you get that caution. So I definitely feel for Adkins there, especially with the dominant lead he had for the majority of that run earlier. It's just, it'll come to him. But right now we see DeWeese and the 16. No, the 16's up front. Oh, this is the 80. I'm sorry. This is the 80 and the 8 going at it here for 7th position. And just not quite finding the way around. It looks like the 8 are going to try the low line here, but nope. The 8's going to cut that off.
We're on board with Blake Thronberg, watching Braxton DeWeese out the front of the truck. And Thronberg has, Flanagan on that birdie, he swapped spots in the pit. I'm not sure how that worked, but regardless, Thronberg has had a bad race and is trying to recover and get up here and run in the top 10. But here comes Adkins on by. You see near contact there between Thronberg and Adkins. Adkins is on old tires. He stayed out at the caution after pitting 7 laps prior. As Thronberg, here we go. This is the stuff I'm talking about. He has been all over the place tonight. Gets loose there off of turn 2, hangs on to the race truck, but that was definitely sideways.
Yeah, that calamity corner of turn 2, especially that low line, trying to put down the throttle, not being able to open up the wheel as much as you want, causes a little more wheel spin, and then in turn causes that truck to get really loose on eggs. But right now, Adkins trying to make a run on the 8 of DeWeese, has a run using the top side out of 2 for momentum, gonna stick to the top side in 3 and 4. Maybe that'll slingshot him around the 8th truck on the front stretch, and there it is. With that momentum, the 117 takes that spot, but I think right now he's just trying to get any spots he can with Thronberg under attack by Scott Fritz for the 9th position.
Thronberg under fire. Fritz trying to move forward into 9th. All this while Chubb Shockley continues to trail Zach Mertez. Here they are on board with Shockley. Chubb Shockley, another one of my favorite names in racing. We've got, Jimbo Rooney, that's a great name. Chubb Shockley is a great name. Chubb's running here in 6th at the time being, with about 75 laps to go.
Anyone of Chubb's, I think of Happy Gilmore. And I think it's good now because they're coming out with the second Happy Gilmore, so it must be the stars aligning. But yeah, I love Chubb Shockley is great, a great race car driver now.
We jump on board now with Octavio Rondoletto. We moved around the field a little bit. Let's lock back in here on the lead battle. Rocky Boy about a half second up on Rondoletto, who has started deep in this field, started 20th position, and has driven forward from 21st even at his lowest up to 2nd. Has not yet led a lap, but is working on it as he's about a half second back still of Rocky Boy.
Yeah, there's still time, and Harberts is even further behind Rondoletto, good second behind him. So right now, Rondoletto, all he has to do is get into a rhythm, find the line that can get him closer to to Rocky Boy the third and maybe make a move. And here it is. Huge gains just across the front straightaway there for Rondoletto towards that P1 position. Kind of balances out in the backstretch, but it looks like Rondoletto has a little bit of a better turn 4 exit. See him running that higher line through 3 and 4, and he keeps that momentum and closes that gap ever so slightly to Boyd. So there it is. Look at that. Just a huge run into one way up high against the wall. I'm surprised he did not hit that wall, but he did it. So he's going to try and make another run down the backstretch.
He's diamonding the corner big time, enters a little bit low, kind of constricts the entry, washes up in the center of the corner, up to the wall, and then drives back down the banking off the corner. Not so much there in 4, nearly got the wall, but it's working for him. Whatever he's doing, watch him here out of the corner. A little bit low of an entry, washes up to the wall here, and then he's going to drive back down the banking and get this run, this straight line run, and drive up to Rocky Boyd the third, closing in very quickly down to a 10th here at a turn 3. These guys are on top of one another now.
And with Harbert's further on back, he can just focus on this pass, on this moment, and he gets another decent run down the front straight. Kind of skirted up turn 4 there. Oh, Rocky Boy the third into the wall in turn 1. Looks like he was trying to take the line away from Rondoletto, but that might have hurt him more than helped him there. And Rondoletto still sticking to the outside, and as well as Boyd. Boyd's taking away that line, so making Rondoletto work for that pass.
Yeah, Rocky took notes. He saw how Rondoletto caught him and decided to move up the racetrack and get in that line. Problem is, he's getting the wall in the center of 1 and 2 each time, but he's hanging on to the race lead. It's working. If it's working, don't fix it, right? You know, don't change what isn't broken. So this is working right now for the 16 of Rocky Boyd, but this feels like a Band-Aid over a larger issue. I think Rondoletto is better on the long run, and Boyd is a little bit slower on this long run. I think Rondoletto will find a way by. It's just going to take him a little more time.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Andrew. I think Rondoletto has the tires for it. I think Boyd is definitely trying to fight for his life and keep that truck under him. He is not enjoying that outside line through 1 and 2. He keeps bouncing off the wall the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 laps. But right now, Rondoletto can't get the run he wants, so it's working for now. But we'll see what happens with Boyd through 1 and 2. Stays out of the wall, but maintains that position. So right now, Rondoletto just trying to set up Boyd and set up that pass. Still working hard on that pass. It looks like we see Adkins trying to make a pass on Thronberg for 7th place.
Thronberg, another one of those short track drivers from the Sarah Super Series, running in the 7th spot. Meanwhile, Braxton DeWeese tries to move on by as Jonathan Adkins loses control of his truck a little bit and falls back. He just briefly lost control, regained it, fell back behind a 22 in the 8 truck, and Adkins will go back to work again. He is on older tires than Thronberg and DeWeese. So that is impacting his day so far. He got back on the lead lap after going a lap down for his pit stop earlier, and I think he'll think twice about pitting on the 50 this run around. But this is a really good battle between Thronberg and DeWeese.
Yeah, and just to touch on what happened there, these trucks are lower powered. Might have been some contact there between DeWeese and Thronberg. Looks like they avoid chaos and disaster, but for now. But going back to Adkins, it's when you start losing control of the truck, you have to get out of the throttle, and these trucks rely so much on that momentum, so much on being able to carry the momentum through the corner. And if you have to get off the throttle just a little bit, it kills that momentum and kills that speed. So it's definitely tough. What could take you 5 laps to make a move, you make one of those mistakes, you lose all that progress. And on older tires just makes it worse. He's just holding on, hoping for another caution to get some more. Oh, no, he's coming in now on another pit stop as we see. Ooh, gets it slowed up there. It looks like he got under speed, but interesting strategy by Adkins again.
I think he's banking on these guys having to pit under green, banking on this run working out. So far, that's not been the trend. So this is a bold strategy. We'll see how it works out for him. But the 17 comes down the pit lane here from the top 10 and will take full service. Meanwhile, Rocky Boyd continues to lead over Octavio Rondoletto. There's some smoke here on the backstretch on some skid marks. Somebody has very recently had trouble, and it might be Joseph Groom.
Yeah, see, what happens a lot of those times, you see the smoke, and all of a sudden, car on pit road is a tow. Oh, look at that, definitely saved it. Oh, he was trying to make it on pit road and try to enter there on 3, maybe.
Trying to go back and fight. Wow, there's a lot going on, a lot to unpack here. We'll just watch this from the blimp and let it all unfold, but this is the 11 of Joseph Groom. We backed our way into finding this replay. Racing here at the 12 of Dylan McKee. No other pit stops, by the way, yet from the leaders, so we'll keep an eye on that as Rondoletto will make a move on Rocky Boyd. There is the initial slide for Joseph Groom, and the rest is history. So we'll cut away from this replay and get back up to live picture because Octavio Rondoletto has just made the pass on Rocky Boyd III and gone by for the race lead.
Well, and not far behind them is the 80 of Jacob Harbert. So Jacob Harbert's making some inroads to the lead. And here we are with Zach Mertes and the 44 of Cottle fighting for 5th place. Mertes learning some things from earlier on in the race and actually making a decent charge here in the later stages, being able to maintain those tires, keep them under him, and maintain that top 5 position. So Mertes learning through the race. DeWeese trying to make the pass on Cottle for 6th. We documented his early drive-through penalty, and this is a very good recovery for that 8 car as well.
The 8 now into the 6th position, moving by Josh Cottle in the 44. He's Scott Fritz behind these guys. He just tags the outside wall. Matt Selby runs a lap down. He, I think, was caught a lap down in that last caution, in the last exchange. He runs 12th place right now. Unfortunate for Matthew Selby. Fritz, though, in the top 10 as DeWeese has a go here at Zach Mertes. This is going to be interesting. You're off the corner. Mertes down the racetrack and gets a little free. DeWeese has the spot on the outside.
And we see a lot of these passes come from the outside, but Zach Mertes fights back hard on the inside of 3. Coming out of 4, they remain side by side through the front straightaway, crossing the start-finish line. Still almost side by side, but DeWeese looks like he's going to take that position going into 1 and maintain the high position. Looks like the lines moved up a little bit, and that high line through both ends of the track right now seem to be ideal.
I want to once again thank all the partners here with this series and with this event. There are so many of them that make it possible. Admin Box, Third Party Gaming, Dirt Series Promotions, Night Owl Racing League, Premier Racing Setups, RMR Driving Academy, Sick Trophies, 618 Engraving and Design, Thunder Valley Racing, Victory Fuel, and TJ Visuals. There's even some awards brought to you by 14 in Graphics and Logos, Derek's Action Photos, Donnie Battia's Consultant, Premier Racing Setups, Right Rear Racing, and Triplet Motorsports. So a lot of people, a lot of groups behind this series and this event, making it possible. Got to also give a big thank you to those here at Pit Stop TV, Whiplash SimCams, ATVO, CC's Business, Bodie Williams Design, Lucky Performance, and North American Racing League. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that William Owens, do you recall his kind of close call earlier when he hung on to the race car, or I guess the race truck in this case? Do you recall that, Carl?
Yeah, I think I got you.
The 21. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that so far, he is today's lucky break of the day. Brought to you by Lucky Performance. He has been just trying to keep that truck underneath him, has done a decent job, is running in the top 10 right now, runs in fact in 10th spot. Just saw Jonathan Adkins go by, so he's kind of hanging on to the back end of the field admittedly, and that's all you have to do sometimes to get a top 10 is just hang on to the race truck and make it to the end of this race, and that's what he's doing. So far, I'm going to give him Lucky Performance, Lucky Break of the Day. It just feels right now. That could change, but with about 50 to go, we got to start talking about it.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, we've talked about him all day, and honestly, it's kind of lucky with no stage breaks. It's kind of lucky getting cautions, and he needed one. The 8 of DeWeese, he got lucky with a couple of cautions, was able to make his way through the field after an early penalty. I'm going to put the 8 in the candidacy for that one, from my side of things.
I think that fits as well. That's a really good one. I like that. I hadn't really thought about it that way. So Braxton DeWeese nominated here for Lucky Performance, Lucky Break of the Day. He drives into 4th, passing Chubb Shockley with 50 to go now, 51 technically. He has put himself back in a really good spot to potentially win this race. He's only 3 seconds back of Rondoletto. In 50 laps, that can be made up if he's got the right pace to do it. So watch out for the 8 car as this race goes on. By the way, Rocky Boyd has fallen down to 3rd spot, and he is pitting here after losing that spot to Jacob Harberts.
Yeah, Rondoletto actually really preserved his tires. I feel like he didn't push hard. He didn't push Boyd very hard when he was trying to make the pass for first, and I think Boyd might have tried a little too hard defending that position, just trying to maintain speed and take away that line, especially if you're trying to use a line that you're not used to running. I feel like that kind of hurts in some ways, especially tire wear. Just trying to learn a new line on the fly, and it obviously did some number to the body work on that right side of the 16, but I think he's got the right idea. I believe he should have one more set in the pit box, just in case a late race caution comes out. But this probably will start the domino effect of other trucks making their way down pit road.
Yeah, I think it will. I think that's a big signal to everybody that pit lane is wide open right now, and we may see some takers here soon. Here's Tyler Bentley working on Scott Fritz for 7th as they run. That'll change as pit stops take over, but it's an interesting little battle between the 55 and the 48. Tyler Bentley sporting the Buckeye Racing Network colors, the presenting partner of this evening's Spring Rush here at Rockingham. So thank you to Buckeye Racing Network as well.
Well, and Tyler Bentley is not a name I don't think we've called all night long. Been relatively quiet. Through a couple of cautions, started 24th, but currently running 7th. He's done really good for himself. Another one of those drivers similar to the 21, just kind of kept to himself, kept his truck out of trouble, and there he is, finding his way into a top 10. So good on Tyler Bentley as well.
Rondoletto is pitting. Here he comes down the pit lane, a very long ways to go. It's a relatively long pit lane. It wraps around turns 1 and 2 as opposed to just being on the front stretch. The Rondoletto is in and will take service. Should be 4 tires and fuel just like the rest of these guys. Now we kind of await the 80 car and everybody else to come in and pit. Harberts, DeWeese, and everyone else. They should be in soon. In fact, DeWeese is in now with about 45 to go.
And I'd be shocked if Harberts doesn't come in this next lap, because all the other trucks that he's been racing against are now on pit road. So I think you definitely want to try and at least match your competitors' strategy as we watch the 0 and the 0-2 battle back and forth as we see the 80 go past pit road entry again. But these 2 truck drivers are finding themselves in 2nd and 3rd with the pit cycle as it is at the moment. These drivers have not pit yet, but we have a nice cluster of drivers. As the 21, I think he has pit, and he's looking to try and get some of his position back.
The 21 moving on through. That's going to be William Owens. He is 2 laps down, pitted 3 laps ago, and looks up here at Shockley and Murtis and really has nowhere to go. This is the trouble as somebody on new tires. You've got to try to find a way by, and that time he finds a way through, right through the middle of those 2 trucks. That was impressive as Rondoletto goes fastest.
And those are the fresh tires. He's had those for a couple of laps. Those are getting up to temp really quick with the 24.4. Rondoletto looking to try and get that lead back from Jacob Harberts, and Jacob Harberts now on pit road, making his stop, but Zachary Mertez and Josh Cottle look to remain out and try and get some laps led.
Yeah, so some of the guys that are yet to pit: Chubb Shockley, Zach Mertis, Josh Cottle, Tyler Bentley, and Sean Smith, really the top 5 that have not yet pitted. This brings Harberts into the pit lane. As far as guys who have already pitted, Rocky Boyd leaves the pit lane as the top driver on new tires. He's about to unlock himself from Shockley and Murtis here in just a moment. And frankly, I think it's time to pit. You got 40 to go if you're Zach, or if you're Zach Mertis to the wall. I was just saying, if you're Zach Mertis, you've got to pit. This brings out a caution flag.
Oh, no.
What just happened, and who's going to benefit from this?
So I was watching it. Zach Mertez looks like got loose out of 2, and Rocky Boyd, the 3rd, was right behind him with nowhere to go. And that just unfortunate situation as they were battling with the 0 Just trying to get some spots here and race a little bit.
Yeah, so here's the replay from the tower. Murtis drives in, kind of second lane up the racetrack here, gets a little free on exit, and the truck comes around. Boyd was there, ends up shipping the 0-2, and that's going to negate anything that Boyd had in store for Lucky Dog. He's not going to get a lap back because he made contact and was part of the caution here. And Murtis now is going to have to nurse that damage around and come back around to pit. Here come the leaders into the pit lane. This is going to work out beautifully. This is, I think, lucky break of the day material for Chubbs Shockley and Josh Cottle. They stay out and catch the caution and will be able to work down the pit lane here and should hold on to their track position.
Oh, definitely. It's going to be huge. Even for the 55, Tyler Bentley started 24th, was in third during that cycle. Will come out, restart third, barring any issues or incidents on pit road. But this is going to be very, very interesting shakeup and timing of that caution, because right now that'll put us 39 laps to the end of the race. Unless something crazy happens, we may be seeing the last pit stops of the race right now.
There goes Chubbs Shockley. He's just going to win the race off a pit lane. I don't know if there's a rule about having to run out to the actual exit lane or not, but Shockley runs through the pit lane and the actual pit boxes and wins the race off the pits. Chubbs Shockley will beat out Josh Cottle and Tyler Bentley. You see Jonathan Adkins, who stays out here on 25 lap old tires. I hope he pits. He's made 3 stops. He's got 2 sets left to go. I hope he gets a fresh set on that 17 truck and goes back out there because he is quick on him. And this feels like it could go green to the end.
Oh, yeah. I have, well, one of two things. I think we have 2 sides of the coin here. It could go green to the end, or we could see absolutely disaster brewing. Cautions tend to breed cautions. These drivers have been behaved so far, but with less than 40 laps to go, it's all or nothing right now. I think that give and take meter has all the way to take, Andrew, and we're about to see a very interesting restart.
When we go back green here, as long as we settle into a nice green flag run, we'll bring up the driver of the day conversation brought to you by the North American Racing League, and we'll talk about who we're going to nominate. We're each going to nominate 2 drivers from this race. That'll be 4 total. You'll be able to vote on YouTube for your NARL driver of the day. We will have about 35 plus a couple laps to go. It'll be about 37 when we take the green flag here, and it's a lot of trucks on the inside lane, not many on the outside. Third party gaming green flag back in the air. We are racing with a big Jackrabbit restart in the back of the pack.
Well, that was a huge incident by Ty Dickerson. I don't know if he missed a shift or what happened, and he just fell out of the contention of the race. Almost to me, as we see him right there towards the back. I don't know what happened, but right now, up with the leaders, the 13 of Chubbs Shockley, followed by Cottle and Bentley, doing well, leading this race with 36, coming to 35 to go. But Cottle has been quick. I think Cottle's going to show his speed and maybe try to make a pass here in the next couple of laps. We'll see what happens.
13 trucks are on the lead lap. That includes Jonathan Adkins. He's having to come in for a penalty. Unsure if this is from pit lane or if this is from the restart, but he's coming back in, unfortunately, and that will just about end his winning potential run. He had led a bunch of laps earlier in this race, was in a good position, and then cautions did not fall his way. Here's Rondeletto going by Rocky Boyd III. We've seen the long run pace out of Rondeletto. He goes quick on the short run as well. Faster that time as he moves into 4th spot. Rocky Boyd now on the inside.
And these 2 drivers battled earlier for the lead of the race, so we will see who emerges victorious from this. And the contact between the 48 and the 16, but they keep it straight. They got really loose, a lot of contact out of 4. But right now, both of those drivers keep it straight and keep it racing for now as Rondeletto will take that spot.
Jacob Harbert sits right behind these guys. The driver that led so many laps to get this race started, 71 in total. He is back in 6th position now after starting 3rd. He's been as low as 11th, and he's driving to the inside here for 5th. He will get it on Rocky Boyd to move Harbert up to 5th. And he's now chasing down Rondeletto once again. Cottle runs in 2nd. And this is somebody that has been kind of a sleeper all day long. He's saved his stuff a lot. He's battled back late in runs. If this thing goes green, he's in a really good spot to get by Chubbs Shockley later on.
Huddle is definitely not letting Shockley get away from him, as the 77 runs the fastest lap of the race. But back to the 44 and the 13. The 44 has just maintained a 0.2 of a second gap to the lead truck there, and I wanted, and they've been kind of separating themselves from Bentley and Rondeletto, Harberts, and all of them. I think he's setting them up. He is good at saving the tires. 31 laps to go. I think right now Cottle's in a perfect spot to sit back, wait, let the tires come to him, and see if Shockley wears them out. You see Sean Smith make contact with DeWeese. DeWeese maintains, corrects, and does not bring out a caution. Wow, that was some crazy action on the backstretch.
That's a lot of right side damage for DeWeese. His comeback, I think, has just been stifled. Not only did he pit at the wrong time, but ends up here with a lot of damage to the right side of that truck now after that contact with Sean Smith in the 77. And he is down at 9th spot and dropping cautions out as well. Jonathan Adkins is in the pit lane. Joseph Groom is in the pit lane. I don't think it was that. Was that?
I'm not seeing anything. I don't see any.
Was that a late yellow for the 8?
Man, I feel like he got that straightened before that could come out. I don't think he lost that much speed, but let's find out.
Yellow. You should be able to tell me from the transcript in the iRacing session. I think that's going to be an iRacing, an admin yellow thrown for this incident here.
It doesn't show me, but I am in watch. I'm in the spectate. I didn't get that league invite, so it's not showing that it was admin, but I don't think it's going to show me that.
Interesting. Well, that's what we believe the caution's for. Regardless, we'll move on here under this yellow flag. The pit stops as Tyler Bentley will stay out. Chubbs Shockley leads the charge down. Rocky Boyd also stays out, but there's the charge down the pit lane as one truck misses, and we'll have to turn back around.
And that is interesting. They didn't have too many green flag laps on those tires, but even 10 or so laps, I think, let's see, Tyler Bentley's on 12 laps, looks like Rocky Boyd's on 23, but that doesn't seem right.
That's what it's telling me.
Oh, well, no, I had to have, because he didn't get that lucky duck for contact, so he had to have stayed out to get the wave around. So yeah, on these older tires, this just got way more complicated than I care to calculate.
That's fair. That's incredibly fair. As Chubbs Shockley wins the race off pit lane, just ahead of Josh Connell and Octavio Rondeletto and Jacob Harberts. While we have this chance under caution, we're going to bring the ticker back up, something we don't usually do. There's a reason for it. And Carl, we're going to talk NARL Driver of the Day now. This is the time to do it. On the right side of the screen, and this is going to be a little bit skewed, but on the right side of the ticker, rather, this shows how many positions have been gained or lost by each driver on the racetrack. Bentley is up 23, Boyd is up 20, Shockley up 18, Cottle down 2, Rondeletto up 15. That just gives you a taste of who's moved where. And I'm going to put you on the spot. Take the first driver off the board for Driver of the Day.
Oh, I'm going to say right now, Rocky Boyd the third, with the late incident, damage, going a lap down, not getting the lucky dog, getting, so far, lucky breaks. I will say, starting so far back, Rocky Boyd, and maintaining the lead. He's led a lot of laps. My pick is Rocky Boyd.
I'm going to pick Jacob Harberts and then go again and take Octavio Rondeletto and give you the floor here to make one more pick before we go green.
Tyler Bentley finding himself on the front row leading this race, 23 positions gained, perfect time, perfect place.
That vote is going live over on YouTube. You can vote for today's North American Racing League Driver of the Day in this Reigel Promotions esports event. Into the Geico restart zone, Tyler Bentley leads us back to the green flag, brought to you by Third Party Gaming. It's a completely messed up restart, but we're going green.
Oh wow, 3 wide to start this restart. Like I said, it is go time for these drivers. They want the win, and they are going for it as we see really the top 6 cars all under a blanket. Shockley trying to make a dive to the inside. Connell to the outside, trying to get the run out of 4 as we ride on board with, I want to say this is Rocky Boyd, I think. So yeah, we are driving along. Oh, gets passed by Rondoletto. Rocky Boyd losing a ton of time and a ton of spots there, but he has those older tires, so this is to be expected.
That's right, Boyd on old tires. Bentley also on old tires. He's defending over Shockley and Cottle. They're both going to gang up on the inside and go right on by and bring Jacob Harberts and Octavio Rondoletto, my 2 picks for driver of the day. Here we go, 3 wide for a moment. Rondoletto dives to the inside of Harberts. Cottle dives to the inside of Bentley. We've got drivers throwing haymakers here with about 25 to go.
Contact, we have fenders rubbing, doors bashing, goodness, they are still going. Cottle to the outside, Shockley to the inside, Rondoletto still hanging strong to the inside line, and right now Bentley falling back on those older tires, but the Harberts right now also sitting strong in 4th place. Cottle to the inside of turn 1 and 2, making it side-by-side with Shockley. We still have 23 laps to go down the back straightaway.
I mentioned Cottle was a sleeper. Here he is making his voice known along with Chubb Shockley leading this race. But here comes Octavio Rondoletto off the top rope there in 3 and 4. 22 to go, and he's moved into 2nd.
And that was a textbook move through the outside, and he earns the fastest lap to go with it. And he's definitely has his sights set on that 1st place position. Shockley just maintaining his inside line, but Rondoletto really ripping the rim and running that outside line, getting that momentum. We're going to see, a little bit of contact with the outside wall there in turn 4. That's going to scrub some of that run he had down the front straightaway, but right now, all 4 wrapped under a blanket.
Harberts and Rondoletto have been a lot of fun to watch today. They've led a bunch of laps together. Rondoletto 14, Harberts 71, and I just feel like they've been the top 2 drivers through the course of the race. Harberts early and then kind of fell back and has played some strategy to move back into 4th, and Rondoletto has just quietly moved his way forward from 21st. Started 20th, dropped back to 21st, and has since moved forward and led some laps this evening. They've been a lot of fun to watch. They are my drivers of the day so far, and now you have your chance to vote on YouTube. Rondoletto 2nd, Cottle 3rd, they chased Shockley, and that was 20 to go last time by.
And this is interesting as Shockley actually gets a little bit more of a gap, another 10th or so away from Rondoletto, as the other 3, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place cars are all battling together. So that is definitely what Shockley wants to see in his rearview mirror. But right now, everyone looks pretty much strung out in single file. We'll see what happens here in the next 19, 18 laps.
Rondoletto holding on to 2nd place. The short run craziness has gone away, so let's recap some of the field. Down in 5th, Tyler Bentley's hanging on with older tires. He runs about a half second ahead of Matthew Selby, who was recovered, and that might be lucky performance, lucky break at the day material to get that caution when he needed it and get back on the lead lap. Hello, Matthew Selby, and welcome back to the lead lap. 6th place for the 46 truck. He's in a good spot. Scott Fritz runs in 7th, William Owens down in 8th, Rocky Boyd has fallen down to 9th on old tires, and Sean Smith holds on to the final top 10 position. Zach Murtis and Braxton DeWeese both damaged. They battle here for 11th spot.
And that is almost harder than driving a fully fixed truck, is trying to maintain, trying to stay out for points with a damaged vehicle. It is so tough because you don't know what it's going to do. Is it going to get more loose? Is it going to get more tight? And then you add that with battling side by side for position. It's just not a good time. It's definitely hard to manage that damage, but these guys are doing it respectively. Oh, it looks like the 8 of DeWeese lost the inside, and it looks like Selby's going to make a move on Tyler Bentley for that 5th position, but side by side they remain, coming out of turn 4, crossing the stripe, and they still side by side. These Bentley, even though he had 11 lap older tires, he's making them work, not losing as many spots as I would have thought right off the bat. Still under attack, but still hanging on.
Selby moves into the top 5. Solid move there as Rondoletto runs about 3/10 down from race leader Chubb Shockley, and there's some lap traffic ahead. That's going to include, it looks like, the 167 of Donnie Badius, who has just been trying to hang on. His caution is out. Rocky Boyd.
Oh, man. I am the definition of the commentator's curse here tonight, Andrew.
I would agree. Old tires here for Rocky Boyd, racing with Sean Smith in the 77 truck, who went fastest for a short time there. Let's see what happens to Rocky Boyd, the third, down the backstretch, racing with Sean Smith. Sean looks to the inside. Boyd is up there. And Boyd just kind of drives down, and the 77 was down there. That's just two drivers meeting in the middle, but Rocky could not hang on.
This is another one of those situations where you have two drivers racing for the same real estate on the track. We've seen it a couple times earlier tonight. We see it again with a couple of different drivers. We ride on board here with the 77 Sean Smith, and I feel like maybe Rocky wasn't expecting Sean to be right there. But yeah, it's just another one of those racing incidents.
That's going to be another one that's hard to call for Race Control. So best wishes there, Race Control. Sorry these guys are making it tough on you, but we have some pit stops from Matthew Selby on back. And these are going to be guys to watch on this short 10 lap or so run. Matthew Selby with some brand new tires. Tyler Bentley getting some. Could this be a winning pit stop for Selby and Bentley?
Oh, it could. And you don't want to speed. That is the one thing you don't want to do this late in the run is speed, because you're just not going to recover. It just, you know, facts. Keep the mistakes to the minimum, but yeah, this could be it. Seeing Selby being probably one of the first trucks on fresh tires. Everyone else has 17 lap old tires. As we watch them exit along with Tyler Bentley, this could get very interesting very quick. So I think that's what, 5th on back.
They're going to restart. It looks like an 8th and 9th. And that's solid track position for 10 laps.
Yeah, you can make a lot of positions up. I want to be don't be surprised if you see Matthew Selby in the top 5 at the checkers,
or top 3, or winning this race.
Oh man, if he wins it, that is definitely the drive of the day, hands down. Can't argue it.
This could be, we'll bring the graphic up one more time. This could be lucky performance, lucky break of the day material to get this late race yellow, get some tires back on the truck, and go ripping for 10 laps. They're going to have exactly 10 when we go green. It'll be from 191 down through 200. If this goes green, watch out for the 46 and 55 trucks. They're going to be on fresh rubber. We've seen the difference in new versus old. I'm watching for the 46 and 55 here on this short run to the end, and it could be lucky break of the day material. Chubbs Shockley will lead us back to the green flag, though. Octavio Rondoletto will join us from 2nd place. Josh Cottle from 3rd. Jacob Harberts from 4th. And Scott Fritz checks into the top 5 here for this restart. The Rock has been a lot of fun tonight. Fans, you have your chance for your voice to be heard. The YouTube vote is live. We know you've got a smartphone laying around. Go ahead and get on over to the YouTube vote and vote. Green flag back in the air here at Rockingham. And a crash for 21. No caution. There it is. William Owens around.
That was just a bad restart, it looked like, and it just accordioned.
And this is everything that those guys on new tires did not want to see. This is now going to shorten up their run to the end, and this is everything the leaders did need. You see the 21 truck, he's 3rd in line on the top side. And this might be off the bumper of Selby. 21. Oh, there was a checkup ahead of him with the 80. 21 got hit down the racetrack and ends up getting turned off of the 77 of Sean Smith. Got to watch and see where this checkup starts. Watch Rondoletto here on the restart.
It almost looks like Rondoletto doesn't get going, because there's a start there.
There's a stack up, but he falls back, yeah. He didn't get going off the green, and I really hope this doesn't get placed on Selby because it's a chain reaction, accordion effect. The 48 didn't go, and he fell back to 4th as a result. You see him 4th here at time of yellow, and I'm really hoping this does not get placed on Selby. Otherwise, his day is effectively done.
It's we say how quote unquote low a power these trucks have. but they are still capable of spinning the tires and still just not getting some of that speed down. And I think that's what we saw. Is you can even see Selby's RPMs kind of drop. He's trying not to get into the bumper of the 21 truck. But let's just read along.
Here's Rondeletto's POV. Watch his RPMs. The spike, he's spinning tires, and that's why he fell back.
Yep.
You can just hear it. If you know what you're listening for, you can just hear it there when we went on board.
Man, that's a tough break right there. Because you don't want to make mistakes, because really the way you win is, for the most part, besides being faster, is making less mistakes than, anyone else. And that's a mistake you don't want to have, especially on a restart late in the run. That was a costly mistake. You said, Andrew, he lost 2-3 positions with that mistake, and it's going to be tough now, and by not being on that front row now.
And the iRacing.com safety car lights have been extinguished. That means we're going back racing this green flag this time around for the third-party game and green flag. Chubb Shockley still leads. Josh Cottle now second over Scott Fritz and Octavio Rondeletto. Jacob Harbert sits in fifth. He's got old tires as well. So the first truck on new tires, Matthew Selby in sixth. Bill Miller is in seventh. He's got new tires. John Smith is on old tires, and Tyler Bentley was unable to make any progress on that restart. He's really in deep water. He is ninth spot with Rocky Boyd in 10th on some new tires as well. This is going to be a short run, 6 laps to the end of the race if this thing goes green. We do have 3 attempts at overtime if we need them. But this time around, into the Geico restart zone one more time. Chubb Shockley in control. Third party gaming green flag is back out here at Rockingham. Watch that red truck of Selby. A little out of control in the back. One car spinning. That's the 11, Joseph Groom. Hopefully this stays green. Watch Selby now. On board of Selby. 1 lap complete, 5 to go.
Surprised that incident didn't bring out a caution. Oh, into the wall! Him and Scott Fritz losing a ton of speed there, losing a spot to Jacob there, but trying to make a run to the inside in 3 and 4. That almost eliminates him essentially from that lead pack there. But there's still some racing left. We are coming on 5 to go across, or 4 to go across on the stripe.
4 to go, and Josh Cottle has raced to the lead over Chubb Shockley. A straight-up battle, mano y mano y mano here. Josh Cottle, Chubb Shockley, and Octavio Rondeletto as there's crashing in the back. It's Matthew Selby. Caution is out. We're going to go to overtime.
Oh, man, Andrew. Cautions breed cautions, and we have seen it here at Rockingham tonight. We've seen a lot of good green flag racing, and towards the end, everyone is looking for that checkered flag as we watch Matthew Selby. It looks like he got maybe a little loose out of 4 there. Battling Harberts.
And Harberts comes down off the wall here out of turn 2 and just tags the 46 of Matthew Selby. That truck it tried to go airborne. I'm surprised by that, but Selby gets turned by an effective teammate over at Matt Julius C's Speed Shop. That is disastrous stuff there. Harbert's just trying to hang on the late race restart from up high. He just comes down the racetrack ever so slightly and gets into Selby.
And that's what I meant earlier in the race. Is it seems like there's so much space from up here. It seems like there's so much space. But you get in that truck and that car, there is no space. As we ride along with Harberts here, comes down the outside, and he is up against the wall. I mean, could he have given a little more space? Yeah, maybe an inch. But Selby, with the spot here outside, but they don't tell you where outside. So that's just that lack of space, that lack of feeling of space anyway here at Rockingham.
Going to be an interesting little run to the end. We'll finally check in. We've given him a little bit of time to cool down, and we'll check in here with Zach Murtis before we go back green. He's in the pit lane. taking some repairs. We'll just see how his race has gone. We kind of know the end result of how it's gone here for Zach Murtis, but Zach, we'll dial you up here and talk with you briefly before the end of this race. We told you we would. I know it hasn't gone great, but what happened from your point of view?
I invoked the fifth on that one. Sorry, Andrew. Can't really make too much of a comment just because of how the incident transpired. I mean, we're running for the lead, and you know, Rocky's a lap down and just slams into the back of me, and I wanted to apologize for what had happened because I felt mostly at fault, seeing as I got loose while we were racing for the lead, and well, comments were made, and I'm not really willing to say anything more than that.
Well, Zach, it's unfortunate that things have transpired the way they have, but it was a lot of fun watching it earlier. Hopefully you can hang your head high knowing you had some fun and showed out earlier. We'll let you get back to it here at the end of this race, but best of luck.
10-4. Thanks, Andrew. Love everything you do here at Pit Stop TV. Hopefully I'll be back up there in the booth with you at some point soon.
Very own Zach Murtis, a little bit dejected this evening, and I think that's fair given the circumstances, and it sounds like other things kind of got going from there. But here we are into overtime. Let's recap overtime rules, brought to you by Lucky Performance. 2 laps, green lap, then white lap, then checkered. If the green lap is completed, the race is official. If the green lap is not completed, we restart, try again. All attempts are used. A caution can end the race. Here's attempt number 1. Third party game and green flag back in the air. We're racing once again at Rockingham. This is a great opportunity for Rocky Boyd, who runs in third here, to run these two down for the win. We're leaving those overtime rules on your screen, but here we go. Out of turn 4, it's a white flag for Josh Cottle, brought to you by Whiplash Simcams.
There it is. Next flag ends the race as Cottle is leading this race, followed by Ron Lettle, Rocky Boyd the third, Jacob Harberts, and Tyler Bentley rounding out the top 5. And there's more incidents down the back straightaway. Probably running for position, but it doesn't matter. They will race to the checkered flag. Rondeletto using that outside line, trying to get the momentum. This could be a drag race down the front straightaway. Rondeletto will miss it by just a little bit. Cottle taking the checkered flag tonight at Rockingham.
Josh Cottle is tonight's race winner in the spring rush at Rockingham. The 44 truck posted to victory lane. Josh Cottle, I told you earlier he would be a sleeper. Chubb Shockley gives a bit of an exaggerated congratulatory tap, but I told you Josh Cottle would be a sleeper. Here he is, late race restart, overtime restart, ends up in victory lane.
By 56 1,000ths of a second, a drag race down the front straightaway as we see some burnouts from Josh Cottle tonight. A well-earned victory, good green flag speed, but he was in the lead and fast when it counted at a rash of late race restarts.
And I'm pretty sure the last time we spoke to him after winning a race was in the Sarah Super Series after running on a 1-mile track. I want to say it was New Hampshire Motor Speedway. For him to get a win here at Rockingham, another mile track, that is just so, what's the word, coincidental. I don't know how he's managed it this evening, but he ends up in victory lane for the shop, and everybody over there, 8 laps led, and it happened to be the most important one at the end included. I don't know where this guy came from. He wasn't, I know where he came from, second place, obviously, and I said he'd be a sleeper, but I never really thought he had that race-winning pace until he did. Right there on that last restart, hangs on for the race win. But let's go back and see how he got that win over Octavio on that restart. That was really fun to watch.
Well, Shockley had a really bad restart in that outside lane. I almost looked like he spun the tires as well. To see him get really far to the outside, and look, there's Shockley losing a ton of time there. Some linking issues for Boyd.
And Rondeletto is a couple of tenths back at this point. He's car lengths off of the 44, and he ends up getting just to the inside of that 44 by the checkered flag. Let's watch this from Rondeletto's point of view.
Rondeletto was the master of using that outside lane tonight, and it showed. Just a nose too short there. And look at that. Look at the momentum and even the track he's gaining. through 1 and 2, down the back straightaway. You can see just a little bit of time, but here is where it really shown out his speed for 3 and 4.
Using that top line again, drives off the banking and down to the inside of that 44 truck. That's how close they were across the stripe. But in the end, it's still Josh Cottle with the race win in that 44 machine. Unbelievable stuff from everybody in this race. A lot of fun to watch, and tonight's Spring Rush belongs to Josh Cottle. Let's go back and take a look at the unofficial race results when it's all said and done here. Of course, Josh Cottle with the race win. Octavio Rondoletto from second place in that 48 machine. And then Rocky Boy, the third in the 16. He finishes third spot. How fitting. Jacob Harberts ends up fourth. Tyler Bentley fifth. And that's a solid recovery drive for him on tires. I'm very, very impressed by Tyler Bentley. So as far as drivers nominated for driver of the day, they all finished second, third, fourth, and fifth, right? Yeah. Rondoletto has the best finishing position, and he's got 0 votes. So if I were you over on YouTube, pull out your smartphone, your tablet, whatever you got to use to vote. Get over to the vote right now, because when we stop reading these results, the vote is final. That will end. Rondoletto, best finishing position. He doesn't have any votes yet in the vote for driver of the day. I'd be looking for him. If not, Rocky Boyd is second in the driver of the day contenders. And he's got the next least amount of votes. He is tied, or sorry, he is in third, as there's a tie for first between Tyler Bentley and Jacob Harberts, who finished fourth and fifth. Chubb Shockley finishes sixth, Scott Fritz eighth, then Braxton DeWeese with a recovery drive, William Owens in ninth, and Matthew Selby 10th.
Yeah, with Sean Smith finishing in 11th, Zachary Murdes 12th, Bill Miller in 13th, Ty Dickinson 14th, Jonathan Adkins strong early on, had some issues later on, 15th, Donnie Badiest in 16th, Joseph Groom, some issues throughout the night in 17th, Blake Thronberg in 18th, Dylan McKee at 19th, and running out the top 20 would be Ben Wirt.
Finishing 21st, Lataro Lamperti, 93 laps down. Robert Puckett, 22nd. Corey Denson ends up 23rd. Cameron Craighead in 24th. Jimbo Rooney in 25th. And it seems that Flanagan, for reasons unknown to us, has been disqualified from tonight's event. He will be credited with 26th position here on the results graphic. We'll have to wait and see if he's credited with any points, or if he will lose that points lead and then some, and certainly will be losing the points lead after this race. Unfortunate stuff there for David Flanagan. I said we'd end the vote after reading the results, and that's what we usually do, but there is no clear winner yet. Still a tie between Jacob Harberts and Tyler Bentley, so we'll leave this vote up a little bit longer. We'll go through interviews and then tie it up if we have to. Josh Cottle ends up with the race win this evening. We'll move him up here to the interview booth. And Josh, I'm pretty sure the last time I interviewed you as a race winner, it was in the Sarah National Tour, I think at Milwaukee, or it was in the Sarah Super Series in New Hampshire. Do you recall which? Because I know it was one of those 2 mile tracks.
Definitely New Hampshire.
That's what I thought initially. So you get a race win in the Sarah Super Series at New Hampshire, a mile racetrack. You show up here on unsponsored entry in the 44 truck at Rockingham, another mile racetrack here in the Spring Rush for the Reigel Promotions Pavement Series. And I pegged you as a sleeper very early in this race. You'd save your stuff and kind of move back forward. But what is it that got you this race win late in this race?
Honestly, all luck. If those cautions didn't follow where they did and I didn't get a good enough restart on Chubbs, those guys on fresher tires would have blew by our doors. They were so much faster. But I got lucky. I'm going to admit that. I don't think I was the best car, but, you know, sometimes luck just plays in your favor. And I'm very excited because this is I haven't won in a long time in this type of stuff. So just to have a win is confidence booster.
I mentioned you're a short track ace. You're one of those short track guys that wanted to try something out this evening, a big truck on a big track. And you kind of mentioned that as well. You haven't won in a while in this type of racing. Am I correct there? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah, I haven't won in a long time. Since New Hampshire, any big race, honestly. It's been a while, but I've just been trying to regroup and get myself better. I feel like I was really solid last Super Series season, and to win here against some really good guys like Harberts, Chubbs, Octavio, all those guys are insanely fast, and it's a big confidence booster for me. Can't say I was expecting to win in a truck though, because that was difficult. I don't know if you could tell, it was tight, loose, all over the place, bouncy. It was fun as crap though.
Oh, we could tell. You guys were all over the place all night long, but you slip and slide your way into the first place this evening. Congratulations, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all. I want to thank Coddle Chassis. I had Rocky in there. We weren't really working together, but he was telling me how to save. That was a huge help, and can't wait for the next one, man. I appreciate y'all doing the broadcast, and thank you for Reigel to inviting me. That was fun.
Good to have you here this evening, Josh. Congratulations once again. We'll move him back down and speak with second place now, Octavio Rondoletto. And, well, Carl, he's headed your way.
Yeah, so Octavio, we kind of really well documented your race pretty much throughout the field. You started in a low of 21st spots, led 14 laps. What did you need there at the last couple of laps to get that win, get that checkered flag?
Hi guys. Yeah, I started last because I had an EOL. And yes, I think I had the speed. I don't know if one of the last restart I started second and I lost 2 spots. I think that was a problem because I had to pass one guy and later I started third, and I think if I would start second in the last restart I would have a little bit more possibilities, but I have to admit that the 44 was extremely fast. I tried everything in the last lap. I think it was a little tight in the entry of turn 3. If I had more grip, I think I could be in the victory lane.
Well, with a little more grip, you might have had it, but you seem to really have that grip all through the race. Out of everyone, I think you probably had the most success using that outside lane to make passes. How was it getting through the field, especially maybe the first half of the race moving forward with a lot of green flag runs? Was the top lane your more preferred lane as the race went on?
I started going in the inside lane thinking it will allow me to save the front. But man, after 40 laps I was struggling a lot with the rear tire, and I think, well, if the setup is made for the outside, why I'm trying the inside? This setup is for a complicated track, so with this condition I think you have to try something different if you're struggling, and I decided to try in the outside, and I feel confident running the outside on most tracks, especially here. I ran a couple C-fixed using the outside lane, and why not?
Why not indeed? Well, you weren't that far back in the points. Fifth, only 14 points back, but the second place definitely ought to help through the rest of the season. Do you think you can carry this speed to the next couple of races?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'm a good racer in middle speed tracks or not in super speedways. I struggled a lot in super speedway. I think I have no chance most of the times. I don't like to be in the front, and in super speedway you have to be in the front. And we have more tracks like this. I think I have a good chance to fight for this, and I'm confident. I think we have the pace.
Well, you definitely have the pace tonight. There's Iowa in a couple of races, so good luck. Hopefully we will talk to you at one of those other tracks here coming up soon.
Yeah, I hope to, and if you give me the space to say thanks to my team, it will be great.
All right, well, no problem. Good luck moving forward, and congratulations on your finish tonight.
Thank you guys, and thank you Body 500 for everything. Our sponsor Colino, Formula Sim, Flaming Camera Racing, Data Pro, and Atlético Rafaela for the effort. Ramiro Rodriguez, our spotter today, and my teammate Lautaro, he had a problem in the race, but well, it is what it is. We have to keep forward.
Yes, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
Octavio Rondoletto finishing in the second spot this evening to Josh Cottle. Third place, though, was Rocky Boy the third. And Rocky, it was a rocky race for you, but you led 38 laps after starting 22nd. First off, why'd you start so deep in the field, and what was it like driving through?
Yeah, in qualifying, I knocked the fence down both laps because, I suck. And then it was fun. I could tell by the track temp and just the way the truck drove that it was going to be a good race to really save your tires. And being in the back, I really had an excuse the first long run to just sit back and let everybody else burn their stuff up because I didn't have track position to protect. So I just kind of chilled, and as the laps ticked by, everybody else was getting slower, and I was kind of about the same. So I was able to just slowly pick them off, and then we got a caution, so I had track position and tires, and then it was just kind of a race from there.
And you had to come back after being caught a lap down. No lucky dog, because there was contact there with Zach Murders. First off, what happened there?
So I pitted early just because I planned on pitting from the start of that run. So yeah, I drove hard the first part, was running first or second whenever I pitted, came down pit road, and I knew those guys were on older tires, so I tried to time my run for the exit to get under him on exit of 2 down the backstretch. And he's racing, I think he was racing Chubbs at the time for the lead, and he got loose, and I got on the brakes, but I was on so much fresher tires, and just the closing rate, it didn't really matter. It didn't help, honestly, and that hurt me and him because it wrecked Zach, and then I got trapped a lap down, so it kind of just screwed both of us, to be honest.
You're able to come back, though, and battle up to a third-place finish, and the end of the race was littered with a few cautions that were difficult to navigate, but you end up on the top side of it anyways. What's this mean for you as far as Reigel Promotions events? We've seen you in a few of these now over the last year or so. Are you going to run more of these Pavement Series races? Where do we see you next?
I'll probably run some more of these. It just depends on the car track combo. I'm a big fan of Rockingham, so I wanted to come out here and run it and see if maybe we can make a little bit of money, and it kind of worked out tonight. I think we could have got a little bit more, but with what we had to go through the last couple laps, it was nice to at least get to bring something home. So I don't really know what's next, but I'm sure I'll be back with this group.
Rocky Boy the third, 38 laps led tonight, just a couple of spots shy of a win. Congratulations, though. Anyways, definitely getting some solid money back, and good to see you on the racetrack tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Rocky Boy the third ends up there in the third spot, rather fitting. And there you see in frame one of the trucks that will get joint driver of the day by reason that, well, the vote is still tied. And I know there were some that were trying to vote, and it sounds like maybe the vote wasn't working. But we can only count what's tallied up officially. And it's going to be between Jacob Harberts and Tyler Bentley. So Jacob Harberts there in the 80. One of today's drivers of the day. We're just going to have a joint driver of the day. Jacob Harberts in the 80, as well as Tyler Bentley in the 55. So props to each of those drivers. I think they're both very well deserving of it. Unfortunately, we couldn't settle it down to just one of the two. But hey, we have 2 drivers of the day today. They each get the nod there, the 80 and the 55, Harberts and Bentley. And I think that's a good way to wrap things up. Carl, what say you?
I am with it, Andrew. I love coming up here. I love when you invite me up here, and I get to spend a night just watching some racing, commenting on some racing, talking about racing, anything racing. I absolutely enjoy, and it's just fun to do it up here. But all good things, unfortunately, must come to an end.
They must, and it all comes to an end with Truck 44 out front this evening. Want to give a big thank you to Admin Box, Third Party Gaming, 618 Engraving and Design, Victory Fuel, Premier Racing Setups, Richard Murtaugh Racing Driver Academy, Night Owl Racing League, and 14M Graphics and Logos, all doing so much and helping us out here this evening to get this broadcast in the books. And, I want to go back and look at these awards and kind of theorize as to who might be getting them this evening as far as the awards for today. For example, 14M Graphics and Logos, 11th place bonus. That's a free wrap that goes out to Sean Smith, so props to him. He gets a free wrap out of this race. Derek's Action Photos Team Championship. Not sure who's winning the team championship. It's obviously way too early, so we'll wait until race 6 for that one. Donnie Badius Consultant Most Popular Driver Award. Again, that's for the whole season, but we got to give the mention there. Premier Racing Setup's Hard Luck Award. There's one we can talk about tonight. Do you want to theorize as to who might get that Hard Luck Award?
Oh, that's hard to say. There's so much that happened at the end of the race that there's almost too much to put out there. Honestly, maybe Matthew Selby. He had a decent amount of short run speed. He had the tires. The strategy worked until it didn't. He got caught up in an incident. So maybe I would say maybe Matthew Selby tonight.
We also have the Right Rear Racing Paint Scheme of the Year award. That, of course, comes down to the full year, so we'll kind of skip on by that. At the Triplet Motorsports Mr. Clean Driver Award, I'm going to give that, unknowingly, not looking at the race incidents and whatnot, but I'm going to guess it's going to come down to somebody like Josh Cottle, who was out of incidents all night long, saved the truck for the end, and wins the race. So that's an idea, at least, as to some of these awards this evening. Again, a big thank you to all of the partners behind this series, the Regal Promotions Esports Pavement Series here this evening on full display. Also want to give a big thank you to the partners here at Pit Stop TV, Whiplash SimCams, ATVO, CC's Business, Cody Williams Design, Lucky Performance, and the North American Racing League. Lucky Performance with the Lucky Break of the Day, and NARL with the Driver of the Day vote. Thank you so much for watching this evening. It's been a pleasure as always here on Pit Stop TV. This has been the Regal Promotions Pavement Series for the Spring Rush, and it's just occurred to me, we have one more graphic to go through. I queued up the end of the race, or end of the broadcast graphics, because I thought it was that time. I was mistaken. I'm so silly. We've got one more graphic to go through when this all cycles through, but a big thank you to this evening's presenting partner, the Buckeye Racing Network, for the Regal Promotions Pavement Series. There's a look at so many of the partners that put their heart and soul into this series, and here we go. The final graphic of the night. Back to upcoming broadcasts, because, Carl, next up tomorrow night we head out to Detroit Grand Prix for the Detroit Grand Prix in the North American Racing League on April the 17th, and then Saturday it's the Flood Relief 227. It's not on this graphic yet because we're waiting on more drivers to enter. If you are interested in running, message me on Discord, comment here, or email me at andrew@pitstoptv.com. Again, that's andrew@pitstoptv.com. And you can pay the $20 donation fee to run this race. It's a donation going straight to a sim racer's family who lost it all in a flood in Kentucky very recently. There have been a lot of rains over the central U.S. and into the eastern U.S., and especially in the foothills and mountains of Kentucky. There are some pretty flood-prone areas. Kyle Vincent Gilbert found himself caught in one, and unfortunately their home had water enter it, lost a lot, including, I believe, his sim rig and whatnot, I believe. But I know they lost a couple of cars, they lost so much in their home. They need this help, and you can help a sim racer out by entering this event on Saturday, April the 19th at about 8 p.m. Eastern. Again, contact us here at Pitstop TV if you're interested in running. It's the ARCA car at New Kentucky. You can enter this race and have some fun and race for some money as well. It's not just money out the window for you. You can race for a reward and hopefully come out on the winning side of things. But then next week we go to Monza for the North American Racing League on April the 24th. That's going to be the combined layout at Monza. And then Wednesday, April 30th, we're back at it with Regal Promotions for the Badger State Showdown Pro 4 Trucks at Crandon. There's a lot going on here the rest of April, Carl, and a lot of places to watch.
Yeah, and the only way to know what's going on, when it's going on, is follow us on social media. You can see us anywhere: website, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, X. Now, you look up Pitstop TV, Pitstop TV 1, you name it, you can see it. Always stuff to watch here on Pitstop TV, and you're never bored. You always got Andrew, and you never know who else could make an appearance. So keep an eye out. And don't miss any of the racing or the action here on Pitstop TV.
A lot of great racing coming your way, and make sure to watch on all those platforms that were listed there a moment ago. And Carl, I want to thank you one more time for being here this evening. It's been a pleasure as always. We had you on for a race about a month or two ago. We have you back here and hope to work you back into the fold in a few more ways. Good to have you here tonight and joining me on the mic for sure. That'll do it, though, for us from Rockingham Speedway. Thanks so much for tuning in. I am out of breath. I'm going to go grab myself a cold drink. You should as well. And until next time, we'll see you later.